We are Spoon 107.5 FM. From the top of Wologisi to the beaches of Maryland, we cover Liberia like nobody else does. This is Spoon 107.5 FM. New, urban, ethical, authentic, sports, entertainment, something for the old, something for the new, something for everybody in between. We leave nothing untouched. We are Spoon 107.5 FM. From the top of Wologisi to the beaches of Maryland, we cover Liberia like nobody else does. This is Spoon 107.5 FM.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO. Stand coming with the spoon, and your boy Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of my discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Vanjema, Maryland, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat kepa, gradually, my brother, to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV. Spoon.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV. Spoon.
Skidibidi dabado.
Spoon TV. Spoon Entertainment.
Yes, I, a special one from the CEO. Stand coming with the spoon, and your boy Friday the Southern Band. Charges on the beat.
To the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of my discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, Moravia, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry to spoon? To spoon. To spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland to spoon. To spoon. If you eat Cape Town, congratulate my brother to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio, to spoon. To spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV.
Yes, what you got today?
Spoon TV. Spoon Spoon Entertainment.
And of course, after much needed regrouping, we've been able to regroup, and we're back here tonight to present to you another edition of Liberia's #1 talk show. This is the Spoon Talk. We're live on Spoon 107.5 FM, also on Fabric 101.1, and a host of other stations relaying us all across Liberia. Pleasant night to you, wherever it is you watching us from. For those of you watching us via our various online platforms, Super TV, Spoon TV, Fabric TV, and of course, we're live on YouTube. Our YouTube handle is Spoon Talk. All right, folks, those of you listening to us across Liberia, you're welcome. It's been a very beautiful Wednesday here in Liberia. No rain for most parts of the country. It was a sunny day, and it makes for a pleasant night as well. You're welcome to the show, folks. The rest of the panelists are definitely going to join on the show tonight. Promises to be as interesting as always. We do have as our guest on tonight's presentation the Honorable Minister of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism, Honorable Jeremy M. Pia. He is our guest tonight on the show. A lot happening in the Capitol Hill drama. We will be bringing you some updates concerning that as well. And suspension happening. The CDC has dished out suspension, be it or be as it may, temporary suspension. You know, that long-term suspension, no, that indefinite suspension, but temporary suspension. The CDC has issued temporary suspension against several lawmakers, amongst them including Representative Clarence Gar of Margibi County, who has come up with a public statement as well and said, no, y'all know me not. I know you not. I'm not part of CDC lawmakers. I was a part of the LPDP. I was a part of the coalition. The coalition has dissolved, so I'm no longer a part of the CDC. So y'all take my name from on your suspension list, and y'all have to come publicly and apologize to me. Also on the list is Deputy Speaker Thomas Falla. And this suspension, as well as the timing, right after former President Weah had a radio interview last night, and then suspension starts to roll out the following day or hours after that, has got a lot of political pundits wondering whether or not it is a meaningful suspension or a political charade, or some people call it subterfuge, or whatever you want to call it. Why didn't the CDC, according to political pundits, suspend these legislators at the very onset of this entire thing? You know, why wait so long? Again, the CDC hierarchy, they will defend themselves. So the questions that have been posed, whether or not a real suspension or la vla, you know, just to throw smoke screen over what is happening and make the speaker feel as if the institution is actually behind him. Any sort of way you want to twist it, turn it, dissect it, and spin it for your own consumption, the CDC has suspended several lawmakers. Who will be reading out the list of those who have been temporarily suspended by the CDC. Whether you say the timing late or the timing is not right or they should have done it ever since, so the institution has spoken. It's temporary suspension. So those lawmakers will now have to go and regroup, and come back and see how it would be like. So these are the names of those that have been temporarily suspended. And President Bouaga has also made appointments affecting Liberia's diplomatic mission. We will read out some of the names, some old names resurfacing, and just shuffling and reshuffling, regrouping and grouping. But these are the lawmakers that have been temporarily suspended by the coalition or the Congress for Democratic Change. Deputy Speaker Thomas P. Fala, Representative of District Number 1, Lofa County. Honorable Alexander Poor of River G. Honorable Isaac B. Cholople of District Number 2, River G County. Honorable Johnson S.N. Williams, Representative District Number 3, River G County. So the entire River G House of Representative caucus, they've been temporarily suspended. All right. Honorable Julie Fatoma Wia, Honorable Momo Shiafa Poto, Representative of Lofa County District Number 2 and District Number 3, respectively. Honorable Alpha Koklo Jones of Margibi County, Honorable Emmanuel Ya of Margibi County, Honorable Clarence Ga, Honorable Samson Wia, and Honorable P. Mark Jury. So they've been temporarily suspended by the Congress of Democratic Change. Any other news? The Supreme Court has denied the Justice in Chamber, Justice Yemin Kwekwe Beze, his honor, if it please the court. His honor, Justice Yemin Kwekwe Beze, has declined. He has denied the writ of prohibition that was prayed for by the House Speaker, Honorable Jonathan Fanati Kofa, against the majority black in their proceedings, and has also lifted the stay order. But from what we've heard from Representative Musa Hassan Belete of District Number 7, Nimba County, that they will file an appeal to the full bench of the Supreme Court. However that will go, this is another dent, in the Speaker's quest to seek legal redress. The court has denied the Justice in Chamber. His Honor Yemi Kwekwe Beze has denied that rate of prohibition prayed for by the Honorable Speaker, Councillor Jonathan Fanati Kofa. All right, so President Mbaikai has made appointments affecting Liberia's diplomatic mission around the world. President Mbaikai having revoked all trade envoys, special envoys, tourist envoys, and the rest. President Mbaikai has made appointments affecting Liberia's diplomatic mission around the world, and those missions affected include the Liberia diplomatic mission to the U.S. Appointed as ambassador designate is Al Hassan Conte, ambassador designate United States of America. Genevieve Kennedy is ambassador designate to the United Kingdom. Tiklo Yole is ambassador designate to Japan. Brahma Kaba is ambassador designate to Kuwait. Mohammed Kane is ambassador designate to Qatar. Ali Silla is ambassador designate to Senegal. Joseph Johnson, ambassador designate to Morocco. Musu J. Ruli is ambassador designate to Ghana. And last on the list is one of Dr. Francine's favorite persons, Louise Brown, making a return to the United Nations for Liberia as the permanent mission. His ambassador designate to Liberia's permanent mission to the United Nations in New York. So he's not the only person that's making a return. Donald is also making a return as well. So as Ambassador Louis Brown is returning to New York, Donald will be returning to Washington, D.C. It's not part of Liberia's foreign mission, though. He's America's president-elect. All right, so those are some of the updates coming to you from what's happening across the country. The president today launched a scholarship initiative for 250 Liberian students that will be pursuing master's degrees in various disciplines. That was from today on the grounds of the executive mansion, to be precise, the Tea House. And one of my favorite structures there on the grounds of the executive mansion. Whenever you see it, it reminds you of Asia. It's Japan, got the building. It looks like
All of a sudden, Diamond is sounding muffy. Like that's a like. All of a sudden, your sound went bad. You kind of sound.
Okay, but is it good now?
Yes, it's better now.
All right, Doc. How are you, ma'am?
I know. Kind of Eddie. Ain't funny. It's not funny.
I just quick question for you: a boy or a girl?
You know, you're in the journalism business, so you know what happens. So.
No, I don't know. I'm asking you. I think someone is asking a question. Let me run back to that quickly. The person needs probably I made a mistake, and they asked a question, so I want to go back to the release. All right. So, okay, yeah. Tiklo Yole is ambassador designated to France. Yes. So thank you there, Jojo. And Edward Appiton of the Grassroots Development Movement, you know, chair of NOCA.
Yes.
Remember?
And also
the previous appointments made by the president, he was sent to NOCA as chair of the board, right? Yeah, Edward Appiton. Now he's been appointed as ambassador designated to Japan. So, the political party get money, you get influence, you get everything. Yeah.
Our country.
Political reward on here on that already. Yeah. Political reward on earth.
How you know you've been to heaven before?
No, but you don't care political reward or heaven. We all know, you know, no politics going playing here. You know, politics play our politics here. We'll be informed that we'll be brothers and sisters when we go to heaven. So no politics. And no teacher politics will be there, so definitely there'll be no politics. So all political rewards are on earth, that already see.
I got a joke for you again today, but I'm not talking today.
You ain't in the mood to tell jokes?
No, I'm not in the mood to tell jokes today at all.
Oh, what's really happening, Dr. Richardson? Why you look so down? Yesterday you sounded hopeful, you know, you sounded, you know, a person so lively, exuberant and everything. So 24 hours later, what has happened?
Well, the United States decided to elect a new leadership. So that happened last night. Most people were up late because, you know, as states results from the election from different states come in, people, you know, are waiting. So this went on probably like 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and you know, Donald Trump won the election.
So what's your disappointment there?
As everybody was following along, Donald Trump demonized immigrants or migrants in this country. He called our country, your country, where you sit right now, a S-hole country. He's, you know, has a lot of criminal charges against him that's up in the air right now, which alters the justice system a bit. So it sort of brings in a new day for many of us who reside on this side of the world. Like when you're looking, like today I made a few runs. One of the way that I do therapy to myself is I like to be in the kitchen. So I forgot my ingredients today, so I ran to the store about 2 times. And I was looking at people who didn't look like me and wondering what was going on in their head. You know, like there was this, I don't know if it was me seeing a smile or a concern or whatever, but everybody just seemed interesting looking. They're just like, everybody like looking at each other like, You know, like you Tommy your friend, you like try to see what your friend thinking and what they're doing. And is it white teeth, black heart going on situation going on? So that was the kind of situation. But you know, for someone like me who I've been in this country for a long time, I'm pretty stable. I have a husband who is a veteran. He fought in which he tells me that he fought for freedom, to provide the rights for all Americans to live freely in this country. So, I'm not quite worried. I worried about the future of my children who were born into this country. And then, it's good that I have, in a way, I feel special because I grew up and have lived in two countries. I'm a citizen of Liberia and the United States, and I know the goodness of both places and the badness of both places. So today, to me, I'm even more emboldened to continue to fight for Liberia, to speak to my children more about, the future of the world, where the world is going, and that they have a home, a place called Liberia that they can go to, which they already know. To speak to my good friends, to us to brainstorm ways in which we can develop the place called Liberia, and to never shy from talking about Liberia, even doing some up ads like writing some letters, because I don't know how to get in contact with people when things are not going right. And I want to encourage everyone who's listening to us, write. You guys get together, put your thoughts together. If you something right for you, you can't get to the spoon about it. Contact the radio stations in Liberia to take calls. Use your platform, your Facebook or whatever platform you have, to express yourself, because the goal is for me to make Liberia a better place, that someday, we'll be able to go back to a country. We can strengthen our country. But if we're done, there's other parts of the world that I can go to and live very well freely. I have friends who are in Ecuador, Guinea. I have that was a
Which
joke.
country?
That was a joke. That was a joke.
No, go back to the
I am
first.
not going there. I am
You
not
got,
going. I had to make myself laugh. I had to make you laugh.
so you got friends in Equatorial Guinea.
I'm friends in Ecuador to Guinea. Yes, Ecuador. Guinea.
We have to check your friends list with that originally.
I'm telling you, I got to laugh. So it seems.
You might just, I hope on your friends list we wouldn't find a legend. We wouldn't find King Solomon on your list. That,
I have to make myself laugh. We gotta be serious. We gotta be
but
serious.
Dr. Rogers, a quick question to you.
Yes.
Looking at the margin in the electoral college, votes. When you
Yes.
look at the margin, it's decisive. It's a very wide margin as well. Why do you think, with all of what people who are detractors of Donald Trump said, he won such a decisive victory there in the US? Even if you want to say all of the vile things he might have said that people don't want to go with, do you think Donald Trump spoke to Americans, their spirit, their sense of looking at what the geopolitics is in the world now, the dynamics of what's happening around the world, the reality, and all of those things? What do you think led to such a decisive victory, apart from Kamala being a female?
I I can't sit here and say that racism, sexism, the have not privilege, what I call privilege. I'm hearing something in my voice, privilege, which is they have the difference between the have and the have nots were not at play. There's a certain group of Americans, I believe, that historically do not.
You discussing the election?
Yes, we are. He asked me.
When you're finished, you're coming, yeah?
Okay. All right. So there's a certain group of people.
But the guest is in the back, though, by the way.
Okay, you guys, I'm gonna stop so you can bring the guests. Actually, let me go check my food. I'm cooking, so I'll bring the guests in, and y'all can go ahead. I'll be back.
Yeah, the guest is still warming up. I just wanted you to finish. Yeah.
Okay. No, I just so this privilege, because people who make a certain percentage of money in the United States will continue to do that. That's what the election spoke to. Being a woman, a lot of people are very sexist if you come from a certain mindset, and also being a Black woman and racism. So all of that.
All right,
had
Doc.
some- okay.
We hope and pray that you regroup and come back more
I-
energetic.
I
Yeah,
will-
We
that's
just say
it.
you'll be fine, man. Your
But,
lead is American election alone. You'll be fine, Dr. Richardson.
yeah, so Doc is going to regroup. The minister
Man,
is actually.
she got to regroup. They got to go to Fidel Patrick and regroup. Kamala Harris will regroup. I mean, we move. That would be a quiet, easy 4 years, that more. I don't like to talk about the American election. I like to talk about Liberia election.
Yeah, but Dr. Richardson had to win twice. She won last year, even though she wasn't full forth about it. But I would lose
I mean,
one
the
win.
people have the election, Diamond. They got system. It's good. He won. Everybody should congratulate Donald Trump. He won. Even Kamala Harris about to address it and concede. So what's the
But
big
yeah,
deal?
Dr. Richardson said because election results, she missed the season of.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened. They're too much into this election. Like, listen, you can even put a gorilla in the chair here in America. The country will go through. We gotta worry about Liberia. Damn it, we gotta worry about Liberia. That's what we're gonna have the information minister, Jeremy Pierre. We gotta worry about what Jeremy Pierre is telling the people. What are they telling them the truth? We gotta worry about what they're selling. How our country can lead from 0 to at least 60 or 70%. That's why I always tell my sister, Dr. Richardson, chill. Granny got sick yesterday. Damo. Granny got so sick. Granny passed up.
Right? But yesterday I saw 60, 70 posts from her minute by minute.
It didn't help her. Granny passed up, lost the election too, Pastor Goba. So we pray that he will regroup. Yeah, Pastor Goba will regroup and come back. Yeah. Damon, I don't like to talk about the American election. So let me focus on Joseph Imam Bouaka and his government.
Cool answer.
Huh?
Cool. Going away.
Man, cool. If not for Jeremy Pierre begging me to come on today, I wasn't going to come on. He called, he begging, he said, my man, I can't come on the show if you're not there. I something about these guys then, right? Why they be begging for me? You got everybody on the show. You got Dr. Richardson. Look at her name is Dr. Francine Chinua Richardson. They won't get history behind her. You got everybody, but I mean they won't talk to. Why me? I'm very humble. I will decrease and allow the Lord to increase in me. Why me? Then if I give him hard time, he said, my man, you giving me hard time. I mean, you want to talk to me, you come on the show, I give you hard time, you get blessed. Then if I say I'm coming, you say come. What do you want me to do? But I hope you get air conditioning in our studio for him because he quick to get hot.
Comfortable.
Yeah, he quick to get hot. I think his symptom is heat and heat. So I hope you put the air on very, very good. Dr. Richardson, how you doing today? Forget the frustration. We move. It shall be well. With God, all things are possible. We shouldn't talk about the American election. You will be fine. You've been fine for all these years. You were born in Brooklyn. God got you for all these years, and God will take you through. Don't worry. It will be fine.
Thank you.
God we trust. Donald Trump will take us through for 4 years. Let's move. But I have a problem, Dr. Richardson, and I see that Jeremy Pierre is setting up. We'll bring in shortly. I want to ask now the relationship of Joseph Imam Bouaka government with Donald Trump. It will be very important because we're talking about Liberia now. And we're going to go into it when Jeremy Pierre comes. But I mean, with the exception of the election, Dr. Richardson, how are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah, with the exception, don't say about the election thing. But how you doing so far?
I want to talk about it, so I'm not going to talk. Besides that, I'm doing good.
I mean, everybody know that you're not doing good. You can say you're doing good, but everybody see it in your face. You are depressed. you know, we're going to diagnose you now with you got symptom of depression. And is there any way we do we? I mean, should we call 911 and it will lead to something? I mean, what's your level of
You mean you
depression?
want to give me the back assessment?
Yeah, what's your level of depression right now?
That are reducing that will serve as a stress relief for her. Just a minute. Yeah. That we just want you to, you know,
Patrick, where are you going, sir? Patrick, where are you going? Okay, so Patrick is saying he's going to regroup. Patrick is going to regroup. Patrick is leaving that regroup. I'm sorry for that.
You know what, Dama come back. Dama come back. You see, and that's the picking that we put behind the president. You know that the men are covering the president?
Yeah, who's that?
Dama come back. That children play. You know that children play. That children play covering the president. I mean, the executive marshal got to be careful with that picking. That he the one covering the president. He the one went to France. Look at what he's doing though.
Dama, you don't want that you're training there. That you.
No, not Dama training. That good day training. That good day can behave like that.
Oh my goodness.
Dama would not behave like that. No, that good day. But because he did that, I gave him extra credit though. I was really happy that he did that.
You were happy there. You were happy that the boy laughing at that too. I was
very, very happy that he did that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Yeah, you're going to spend a man.
That's what you need. That's the kind of moment you need in a major coverage like that. You need something to make people laugh. And the men laugh after that, Patrick, because it was a failed protest. It got no juice. You can protest when the lawmakers are negotiating. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have the honorable minister. We have the honorable minister, Jeremy Pierre. He going to download the flyer. Hey, man. At least the picture is better than this picture is better though. This picture is very better than you know the other pictures. So let's bring in Jeremy Pierre, the Minister of Information, Culture and Tourism. Eugene Fagon bus. LBS will now be the same, but a Eugene Fagon bus. So let's bring him on. They don't like to say, but we're so happy to have him today. We got a lot to discuss, folks. A lot of stuff we're going to discuss today. I'm happy to bring the minister himself, Jeremy M. Pierre. Now, he's from Grand Bassa. He visited Grand Bassa so often. In the near future, he will be running for one of the districts, I was told, in Grand Bassa. So he got a home in Grand Bassa. He goes there every weekend. He meets his folks. He engaged them in that district. We'll talk about it later. Welcome to the show. We hear, you know, since the time change, we're trying to adjust. So please consider our listeners. But it's always good to have you, the Honorable Information Minister. Can you make the correction? The people this time they are asking when the representative senator come, we should properly identify them. Can you say Information Minister or Mika something, Republic of Liberia, please? Thank you. Minister Pierre, it's good to see you, sir. How you doing?
Anton, and it's good to be here. How are you?
I'm under the weather, but God is good and God is minding us. Thank God I'm here.
You're trying to downplay the results of the U.S. elections.
Only those that are U.S. citizens can talk about the U.S. election.
Are you not?
No, I would say only those that are U.S. citizens can speak on the U.S. election.
Yes, well, I want you to speak on the U.S. elections.
Yeah, because I'm from Liberia, I was focused in Liberia and speak to the Liberian issue. Why you laughing?
How you doing?
I'm okay.
Good to see you.
Thank you. How are you?
And I can see that all of you not too happy, but that's what democracy is. Sometimes it's not what you want.
What do you mean, all of you? I don't understand when you say all of you.
say you're not US man, so you're not talking. So let me talk to the US people.
No, no, I just want you to be very clear. That's all. I mean, I got no problem when you say all of you, but
No,
not me.
I think what I really meant is that there was this strong
Can I make
within.
some adjustment in your camera setting at least to bring you up a little bit? I'm on
Yeah, yeah. I
blue.
think
We're only seeing the minister head. We want to say again to those of you that joining us, we have Minister Jerolimic Matthew Pierre, or the Information Minister Eugene Fagon Boss. He's here in studio, and we want to say, please, if you have your question, your comment, we will entertain them. Please share our show. Right now it's 9:05 in Liberia due to the time change. We're trying to make the necessary adjustment. You good, sir? To all of you that joining us again, you can find us on Spoon TV on Facebook, Super TV on Facebook, Fabric TV on Facebook. On the radio, you can find us on Spoon FM, Fabric FM, Super FM, and we are relaying this program with other network. We appreciate those network that relay our program. We also want to tell you that join us on YouTube. If your Facebook is not working, Instagram, TikTok, we're creating all these different social media outlets that we can give you nothing but the best. Jerome Pierre is here today on so many issues concerning the government. Whenever we have Minister Pierre, we are not restricted because he's the government only spokesman. The only person that can speak to issues is the minister himself when you talk about the entire government. So, Mr. Minister, we'll be starting the show with Dr. Richardson. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Richardson, you want to add anything before the minister comment with his intro?
No, it's actually just great to have him. Ask Liberians to come on so we can learn and ask him questions about what's going on in our country. So thank you for coming.
thank you.
You can give us your intro, tell us what
Oh,
you've been up to. Yeah.
yeah. It's good to be here. The extent of media pluralism in Liberia is so deep that as the Minister of Information, you have dozens and dozens of media institutions that need your presence.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's difficult to navigate between them all. Certainly along the way, many are not happy because the truth is, since becoming the Minister of Information, there are some networks that I have not gone to. Spoon is fortunate. I have been here a couple of times. Can really check it, but then at the same time, we realize there are some that we've not gone to at all. And the thing that is
Mr.
intentional, it is
Minister, I'm so sorry. Dr. Richardson, can you please put the link in the chat room?
Sure.
Mine is not going through. I don't know why the guys are asking. Please go ahead, sir.
yeah. So it's not intentional, but the extent of pluralism in the media landscape of the country is such that it takes a lot of time to be able to reach everywhere. We still commit ourselves to doing so. We don't try to define media institutions to say this one is it's a tough place, maybe categorizing them as anti-government or looking for pro-government station. Once you are a media entity established by law, licensed by the very government to operate, we believe that we should give you the chance to interact with us too. So it is that kind of situation that has, made it not too possible to be as frequent as we want to be on all the media institutions. But again, whenever we have the time and we're opportune, we will come. And for those who we've not seen to, get on their platform, we say, don't think that we don't like you, don't hold it against us. Eventually, if we're still in the portfolio, we'll reach you someday because we need to talk to everybody. The audiences are different. Everybody got their own audience, and the more you stretch yourself from one entity to another, you're able to talk to different groups of people based on what their interest is with regards to which network to listen to, which network to follow. So it's good to be here. Spoon, of course, you've made yourself, no matter what we think, even if we disagree with your approaches, We can undo what you are, and we can run away from it as well. We got to come. And I heard Stanton saying, I was picking him, you know, my man, when I want to see you alone, I will come to the one-on-one with the CEO. But it's not about you alone. I got Dr. Richardson here. I got Azedo. I know whether you're not coming, Azedo, Sam Jackson, all the other people here are great. I mean, you are some source if you join them as you have done, but don't try to create some kind of impression here that we're not here. These strong people can carry the show. So it's good to be here.
The only thing I would bless you tonight is like I got a call, so I'll take it easy. But again, it's good to have you, my friend. We'll be, keeping you for the next 50 minutes, and we say thank you that we who have agreed to that time to host you today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's share the show. We will open the phone line today. You will ask your minister question. Can you please give us overview? While we get into the conversation, we'll be talking about the STEM program that was initiated today. Spoon cover that. We'll be talking about LRRC. We're going to be talking about the issues when we talk about new appointments in the government. LDCC, we see in appointments on the foreign missions. Folks that were appointed today and nominated by the president, we will discuss it. We'll be talking about the House of Representative saga that have been in the news for the last 3 weeks. I hope we can get to them all. And we want to know the way forward. When President Waka talked about roll, the implementation was it kind of like disaster during a few months because of rain, money about $9 million or $22 million. And then we'll go to the regional issue, which is so important between Liberia and Guinea. A lot of stuff is happening. We are hearing that which you can say we actually to please because we do not want to cross boundary into national security issue. But it's so good that we have to discuss it. Welcome to the show. What's the status, the state affairs of the government right now? The main focal point of this President Joseph Yimabwaka. I mean, what are some of the deliverables since we last saw you, sir?
Thank you, Stanton. When President Bwaka was elected, he knew he was taking over a country that was plagued with numerous problems, ranging from what we were on the global or international stage to all of the challenges and constraints on the domestic fronts, whether you were talking about the provision of electricity to the people or pipe-borne water, or the rural situation, or whether the hospitals and schools are effectively functioning, whether those who work in the public sector are being catered to, are they receiving their salaries, whether the economy was falling on us or it was advancing, the security situation as you pass through a little bit, what was it like? Because fundamentally, the first responsibility of any government is to ensure the protection of lives and property of the people. So that is also cardinal. When you take power, you're looking around to see what kind of security situation you've inherited, in addition to all the other issues that we try to enumerate. We've heard criticism, or we've seen criticism, for example, about how engaged the president has been internationally. And that's intentional. I know everything will spark debate. People will criticize. It's normal. In a democratic society, that's what you want. But I've always said from time to time, as the Minister of Information, I take solace in criticism because it calls our attention to maybe things that we may not be doing properly, and it will help us to get focused and do the right thing. We also not angry when we see critical reportage on corruption, on other things, because you helping the country and helping the administration. Sometimes the only thing we look forward to is that because repetitions are very difficult to be built, we just always hope that when someone has been accused, there must be a foundation for the accusation so that it's not just probably a smear campaign that throws somebody in the garbage or try to take somebody down. But we encourage that, especially when the facts are associated with those. So all of these things were inherited. At one point, we also believed that, and I remember this quite clear during the campaign, one of the things we thought was a big problem, and we say it led us with solve it, was the drug situation in the country. And on another front, we thought accountability was a problem because it's easy for all of us to sit down and say people stealing too much and they must be held accountable. And then those who seeking the power will say we'll do something, we'll hold people accountable. Then you realize also that the processes leading to holding people accountable got so many layers that even, let's say, President Bouaka as the president is so passionate about holding people accountable, there's still a realization that there are different structures that must play different roles to lead to that point of accountability. For example, the LDCC is there to do these investigations and find out whether somebody is culpable of anything, or the GSC is also there to do their own work. The IAA is working in different entities and trying to track what is happening. So if the government decided, for example, that yes, we want to hold people accountable, it means you must have an investigative report from the GSC, from the LDCC, or so forth. And even at that, it will not be sufficient because they got to be reviewed by prosecutors who will look at the evidences and determine that, okay, based on the report that we review, we think Jeremy Pia is culpable of X, Y, Z based on the report, and therefore we can proceed now to charge him, to indict him, and ensure that he's prosecuted for whatever he did. So that whole layer brings a kind of challenge on its own and makes things to look a little bit slow when it comes to trying to hold people accountable in a sense. And so some people will look at it and say, hey, they promised this thing, they're not doing it. But the processes are really on, because it should not be the work of those who are spearheading these investigations to do them in the media. What the country and the media might be interested in is the fruit of your work. Not every step you work, then it becomes political, and sometimes you lost track of it. So that is ongoing. The drug situation, we know that it's still a challenge, but some efforts have been made. Then we had a shortfall in that the individuals who were charged with the responsibility to take charge of that high crisis among themselves, they had to be suspended. People were acting. All of those may have had impact on the process. Electricity, we had a commitment to connect additional 40,000 households to the energy grid, but we realized one thing, Stanton, that even when you connect to the energy grid, there are instances where you will have the inability to fully supply electricity as it may be. So one of the things we realized that we needed to do was to expand the deployment of solar lights. We've been trying them with street lights. If you were driving from the Painesville sector, moving towards town, and everywhere in central Monrovia, those solar lights have been planted. So even if the national grid was off, when you enter the city driving from Painesville all the way to town, the city is bright because the solar lights are working quite pretty well. It will be expanded to the rest of the city. Some parts of the hinterland, we also ensuring the deployment of these solar lights so that we keep the place a little bit bright. Mo Ali and his team, they've been doing great work. Just access to wet-borne water in the capital city of the country has been a huge challenge. And they've been doing a great job in trying to restore water to the city, but they also are spending all the time. Before the war in Grand Bassa, in Grand Jide, and many parts of the country, the water and sewer facility were expanded there. What they're trying to do is restoring some of them. I think they are on the verge or they are already in places like Grand Jide. Not too sure, but my Gibby, I'm sure Grand Bassa, they're doing some work. Like you say, I'm always there with the weekend, even though not for the purpose you mentioned. It's my home, and I have to be home. And it's unfortunate that you would start visiting my own home to political interest, but it's okay. Because even if I have one, it's not a crime. But the truth is, no, I go there for different things for family.
But at least you confirm that you're always there during the weekend. So we got our
everybody Bassa. Like you said, since 2015, I own property there. So when I go there, I don't go to a hotel. I go to my house. I lay down in my own lake kitchen, eat my dry rest, and relax there. So that's a reason to go there. Fortunately, also the administration I served in earlier, the Saliva administration, was able to pave that road from Monrovia to Bassa. So I can even leave Monrovia in the night, and in 1 hour, 30 minutes, I'm in Bassa. So it's easy to go. Unlike
we'll come to your political interest later. We'll come to your political interest later. Let me hold you right there because we got a lot to discuss in just a short time, and we have to move again. So, Honorable Pierre, it's good to have you, like always. I want to start with you on this LDCC. you stood on your MICAT podium and you denounced the fact that LDCC came up with some kind of premature, I'm using the word, not you, but premature announcement about persecution on some other folks when these things were coming up. I think you were taken back. I'm trying to cut that clip and play it. But can you talk to us? I mean, you seem angry when you were speaking to the LDCC announcement that you think that it was premature.
No, I certainly was not angry, and I should not be angry with any government entities for doing their work. But if we determine that there are excesses in the things you do, it is our job also in the democratic space to point it out. I mean, I'm not sure whether it's the very interaction you're talking about, but if it were based on the accusation made that they were investigating bribery,
Correct.
at the
At a
legislature,
House of Representative, yes.
correct, and that they were aware of the source of the money allegedly used to do the bribery, and naming the Water and Sewer Corporation Minister of Transport. My issue was, and which was a representation of the government issue, since I speak for the government, you cannot be declaring that there will be an investigation into an accusation about bribery, and instead of waiting to commence that investigation, you make conclusions already before even commencing the investigation by saying we know where the money came from. Water and Sewer and Minister of Transport provided the money. We want the integrity institutions to work, and we think they should take time, because what happens if it is established that that information that Water and Sewer...
But they said they were opening an investigation. They didn't just confirm, or they didn't conclude that Mo Ali and Salif Starter contributed by giving money. They said they were opening an investigation, because I have the letter.
Yeah, so along with the comment that they were opening an investigation, they were also clear in saying they knew the source of the money. If you know the source of the money, what are you investigating? You already have all the facts. So if you're seeking to investigate, do the investigation, bring the findings, and the findings will include that you have discovered the source of the money. To even make that pronouncement before the commencement of the investigation, I thought was a misstep, and there was nothing wrong. You see, we don't have to be immune or stand on to criticism. People can criticize me as the Minister of Information. I'm okay with that. Similarly, when other structures or offices in the government take certain action that we got some concerns about, we should not be afraid to criticize them as well, and express what we think should be the case. They may disagree, but it doesn't take away the fact that we have an issue, we have a concern that we're raising. No more.
Okay, so this issue about, and I will call Mo Ali today when you leave, because the House of Representatives have some of Mo Ali and Salif Tyler. We want to understand whether they will respect that. That's another conversation. Let's go through your step as to the investigation, the prosecution, finding people guilty before the president can act on suspension or dismissal. Not in all cases, Minister. The president, most often, like we have seen before, instantly he suspended the director and 2 deputies from LDA. He received the information from the audit report. When you talk about LTA, he removed them. They say we are turning 7. We went to court. You know that story. The president invoked his authority and he removed them. He put folks that are acting right now. You talk about Clarence Massaquoi, Punch FM owner, what's his name again? Patrick Horner, and Abdullah Kamara. But Mr. Minister, yes, the issue that so many Liberians question. You receive an audit document that led you to remove Awena Zaga and her folks. But your chairperson have an issue within the audit document in the person of Abdullah Kamara that said to the nation almost $3 million was misappropriated. It's within the audit document. So you as a minister, speak on behalf of this president. Why are we waiting for anything further? That is right in the audit report. You use the audit report to take the other people off, but you are keeping Abdullah Kamara. So that means just talk to us, talk to the nation on this issue while we go on, sir.
So thank you. So the reason why when you are chosen as a president, you name different persons to different offices is because as a president, you're not a magician. You don't know everything. You can be the engineer and be the medical doctor, be the communicator, be everything. So you look for people who you believe got the expertise, the qualification, and education to be placed in the different sectors. And I've said that to say before the president acts on any piece of instrument that got maybe say legal implications, it has to be reviewed by individuals who got that background. For example, the one who will decide to charge someone or indict someone and say this person should be persecuted is the Ministry of Justice, right? So you look forward to them to give you a piece of advice on any such instrument that comes out.
Can I correct you? I think LDCC possess the power too. LDCC possess the power.
Yes, I know they changed the law and gave them persecutorial power. But even before they changed the law, they have persecutorial power. The only difference is they needed to wait for 90 days if there's no action before they exercise. Yeah, so changing the law now enables them not to wait for anybody to do so. But again, if you notice what has happened when the very LDCC investigated and found those pieces of evidences that had to do with Samuel Tuer, Stanley Ford, and the rest of the people, they didn't choose to move into persecution. They made it available, and the Ministry of Justice, working in concert with them, did the charging, the indictment, and all of that. So it depends. The LACC does have that problem, but don't forget, I think they need some additional deployment. Unlike the Ministry of Justice that has an entire persecution.
No, but I come to the LTA. I don't want to dwell on the LDCC too much. I want to get Dr. Richards in time.
Yeah, so I was coming to
the LTA.
Yeah. I was coming to it, except that you brought additional questions. So what I was saying for sure, Winner Zakba, for example, you said they were, I don't know whether you said dismissed or removed. No, she was suspended. During the period of that suspension, moving back and forth, going to court, coming back from the court, in the midst of all the hoodie battle, some of them chose to resign, if not all of them. So the suspension should have been there, investigations carried out, and at the conclusion, then the president would have made the ultimate decision whether to fire or whatever. Short of that, they resign. Now, if there's an audit report, as you indicated, that specifically says Mr. Abdullah Kiatamba is culpable for
not Kiatamba, Abdullah Kamara.
Kamara, sorry, let me leave my brother's name. Was culpable for something, meaning that documentation was given to the prosecutors. If the prosecutors have reviewed it and they have not come in agreement that this thing was committed, to advise the president on action to take, or for they themselves to bring charges against him, then it's an ongoing process. And until that ongoing process reaches the point where both the prosecutor, where the prosecutor are convinced that a wrong is done, and they're calling, they advise the president on what.
So let me wait there, Mr. Minister.
Let me end. Or for example, say they found all of the elements of something being wrong in the report, and they indict him. If the person is indicted, it automatically goes to say the president will dismiss you once you are indicted.
So I got to hold you right there, Mr. Minister. The LTA folks, right? You follow that story. We had conversation on it while you were on the show the last time. They were suspended. We understood they came from another government. They were suspended. There were no open investigation that led to them being dismissed. It was the reason the president gave to suspend them. It was only because that led to the suspension. Thank you. Right. The reason the president suspended them only based on the audit report that was ongoing, an ongoing audit findings. So exactly what happened with Abdullah Kamara. And if you have not seen the document, I can send it to you, because now people are saying this is outrageous that the president of integrity saw reason to suspend those groups, but then the same president is keeping Abdullah Kamara on the fact that he won a full investigation. I mean, you are not too clear with your answer on this issue, sir.
Okay, so let me handle it this way. there's no sacred cow in the war against corruption. If an action has not been taken in a particular case involving Katama, as you suggesting, it means that whatever is being done about that matter is still ongoing. If there are conclusions and the folks at the Ministry of Justice have reviewed what you referencing, and it is determined that Mr. Kamara, why am I calling Katama name here too much? That Mr. Kamara is in breach of anything, he would not be beyond reproach. Nobody in this government.
Why are we waiting for that if the president couldn't give the same due process to these guys because the report showed that they were in breach? But now you are calling for the same due process that it should be confirmed that Abdullah Kamara is in breach before the president can act.
So what that means is that the prosecutorial arm of the government must have reviewed the report, and based on what they advised the president.
I'm not asking for review because I'm trying to start the question, sir. It was very simple. It was very simple. You have folks from the Liberia Telecom LTA. Audit report revealed that they were engaged in system contrary, we say corruption. The president acted immediately. We have our own that we put in place. The audit report, the finding, also the same reason that the president suspended those groups. He is there under the same condition. You want to shift and wait for a report from the investigator and everything?
So I don't want to appear like I'm defending someone, but if you say the same condition, he was not an employee of the LTA. The individuals who the audit report found culpable were the ones running the LTA. He
is an employee right now.
Yeah, the audit process was on the LTA, those who manage the LTA, right? And I'm saying, based on the findings of the audit report and the review done by the Ministry of Justice and other folks, it was concluded, that's why they didn't sack them, that further investigation is required. And when people are on a further investigation, they cannot remain functioning in those capacities while the investigations are taking place. Therefore, they are suspended pending those investigations. The holy battle that evolved came about. They challenged their suspension. They went to court. We know the rest of the story. You've raised a particular issue about Mr. Kamara. I'm saying, if a determination is made eventually about culpability on the part of Mr. Kamara, he will not be a sacred cow. He will not be beyond reproach, and what is required to be done will be done, because the president is Stanton, you have had some very private opportunity to talk to the president. You know his intention when it comes to the issue of corruption. You know how sincere, honest, and determined he is to confront head on this issue of corruption. And what I'm saying to you, if this person being referenced is culpable for anything, then wait and see. But don't be convinced that he's beyond reproach or that he's walking scot-free.
The Honorable Jeremy Pierre, thank you very much. Let me give it to Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, your question, ma'am.
So my first question has to do with what's on my mind right now, which is the legislature. I would like to know your take on the deadlock that is occurring at the legislature right now, and how is that affecting the Buckeye's government, your government?
Good question. We run the government with three separate but coordinated branches of government. The functionality of all of the three branches will have to synergize together to make the government work as an institution. So if there is a problem with one of those structures of the triangular arrangement, then there's a problem. We can shy away from that. Notwithstanding, we also recognize and must accept the fact that each of the separate branches of government, they come with what we call independence, meaning one branch of the government cannot interfere with the functionality or workings of the other. So among themselves, not the entire legislature, because the Senate is there functioning, among themselves in the House of Representatives, they have an issue, leadership issue, with some wanting their leader to be out. And another side is that their rules are there, what number you need to be able to remove. And I think they're moving into that whole battle. What the approach we've taken so far, or the president has taken, is not to get involved with what was going on there, but at the same time hoping that they can see the need. They can all relax in whatever they are, reflect, and see the impact of whatever the stalemate is amongst them and what is costing the country. And since they have that independence that they can work toward, among themselves to resolve whatever issues they are. While we're doing that, we notice also that they got the courts involved. If you get the courts involved in something, it means that matter is before the law. If the matter is before the law, then it even strengthens our resolve not to get involved or not to interfere. But at the same time, keep encouraging them to be mindful of certain things. For example, sooner or later, the country will not have a national budget. As when we reach December, we still got some little time. But this government decided that they will start the budgetary process far in advance because we've realized in the past, sometimes you go 3 months in the budget year and you don't have a budget at that rate because that budgetary process is still on. The new Minister of Finance decided they would change that. And that's why they were prepared to submit the budget the time they submit it, meaning they have the whole of November, they have the whole of December to work on the budget. It is our thinking that they can resolve whatever they have among themselves without interference, so that when that process that has to do with the budget comes, it is not stored as a result of what they're doing. But we are hoping also that with the involvement of the court, all parties will see the court as playing the role they're supposed to play. And if it is based on the details of the law, they can eventually find a solution to what the problem is. But it's important that we in the executive, that the president does not interfere. Mind you, immediately day one, when this thing happened, the former president wrote a whole book. And in that book, when he was making attribution to President Bouaka, accusing him of being the mastermind behind what was happening. And of course, we pushed back on it because it didn't make sense to us. You had a situation where the deputy speaker at that time, I don't know why it is that, who comes from your party, was said to be involved in something. You have lawmakers from your institution who are signatory to the removal effort. And you close your eyes on it, you read a long press release and say it's President Bouaka. President Bouaka's signature does not, or is not on any document calling for the removal of the speaker. But lawmakers, representatives from your party, got their signatures affixed, and you're looking for somebody. So you can imagine that from the very beginning, somebody is trying to draw the president into aid, and we know he's innocent, and therefore we've been treading very cautiously so as to not get mixed up into what is unfolding. But as I said also, we do realize that this structure is triangular, and each of the triangular structure within these three branches of government will have to work fully consistent with what the law said they should do, so that then together as a government you're delivering upon what you're supposed to do. When one is paralyzed or got an issue, then we're not functioning wholesomely, and that's where we are.
So, I like to see how the three branches of government function as a check and balance system when it's a push-pull type thing. When one branch is not acting according to how it should constitutionally, there's another branch that checks that government. At this point, I think I heard as of today, the Supreme Court lifted the state order, okay, which leaves the legislature on their own. Like you said, they have leadership issues to resolve. Do your government think that it's a good move? Because obviously they ran to the court in the first place because they're struggling to resolve the issues. And if nobody checks them, some call it a renegade situation, some call it a revolt situation. So do you see how it is impacting your government if we go on and on and on with this?
Yes, there's no secret about that. As I stated from the very genesis, if it goes on forever, it will impact the government. Notwithstanding, if I should just take your comment you just made on face value, that the Supreme Court said no without doing anything. The Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. It's the final arbiter of any legal situation. So when they make a determination, you can't do anything on the contrary. A lower court can do something, you can talk around it. When the Supreme Court does, then it's a different thing. So if the Supreme Court is acting based on the law and say this is why it is, there's little or nothing that the other branch of government, which is the executive, can do beyond maybe say just having conversation with people. Maybe you call the parties together and say, let's talk. But in the midst of that kind of standoff, you want to be careful how you get involved with that, and just encourage them to say whatever it is. You're independent. Yes, we want government, but you're independent. Just be reminded that there are things we are supposed to do collectively as a government, and if you are not functioning wholesomely, it could undermine what we are supposed to do collectively together, and hoping that they can see the need to, resolve it among themselves without any interference from our side.
Yes, Senator, just give me an opportunity to just ask one more question. So I know you made a series of appointments. This government, not you, made a series of appointments recently, including the Minister of Commerce.
I beg you, before you go to the appointment, because it's one of our topics, can I finish up on this, Dr. Richardson?
Sure,
the House of Representatives something. Thank you, because again, it's one of our discussion coming up. Honorable Minister, let's talk about the House of Representatives. The President had promised by Friday, the 8th, to submit the budget. Will the budget be submitted?
So yes, a pronouncement was made that a budget will be submitted. I haven't heard anything on the contrary. And if I don't hear anything on the contrary, then my assumption is that's what it should be. But I want to be careful to say that what it should be may not necessarily be that what it may be. So I may need to get engaged with the Ministry of Finance that is ahead of that entire process of budget submission to confirm from them whether we're on course with the submission process. But like I said, with all hearing something on the contrary, and because that pronouncement was made, I could make an assumption that yes, maybe it should be, but I wait and see.
If the president is submitting the budget, if the executive through Gafwan is submitting a budget, will you submit the budget to the speaker or through the majority bloc?
So the intricacies of that is not something I want to dwell onto now, because let's walk towards the point of submitting the budget.
If you just cannot say the speaker, then it is concerning because he remained the speaker. Why is it an intricacy? Why is it so hard for you to speak to?
So because like I mentioned that there are three separate coordinating branches of government. And as someone who's been around in the past, for example, I know that during the Salif administration where I served, yes, but budgets were addressed to the speaker, but submitted through the clerk of the House, right? I don't know whether that process still remains, whether you submit it directly to the speaker, whether you submit it to the clerk of the House, whatever it is. That's why I said, since I'm not the one who's going to be submitting that budget, and I haven't gotten that clarity from those who will do so as to why exactly will happen, it will be a mistake for me to make a conclusion.
Who should the budget be submitted to?
To the legislature.
Who?
The Ministry of Finance certainly will make that determination when it's time to submit.
Usually, as per the Constitution, the working relationship between three branches, who should the budget be submitted to?
The legislature.
Through whom?
If it is at the Senate level, addressed to the pro tem and submitted through the Secretary of the Senate. If it is at the lower house, it should be addressed to our speakers, submitted through the
chief clerk.
So where is the clerk?
So now the chief clerk, she's on vacation. All the other members, the chief clerk, she's on vacation, and all the other members, they have moved over to the majority bloc. What we hear, if it is true.
So you see exactly the reason what I said we should wait to see how.
No. We got to jam you. You are the information minister. Allow me to lay on my question. And what I'm hearing, if it is true, when she returned, when she returned, she will be joining the majority bloc. But as long as she's on vacation, and you must submit the budget through the deputy chief clerk, then you are telling us that you will submit the budget through the Thomas Farah Group, which is the majority bloc.
I didn't say that.
I am asking you. Let me put it in a question. Will you submit it through Thomas Farah Group through the because that's what the deputy chief clerk is. Is that a work of the executive?
So I clearly say if the budget will be submitted, the individuals charged with the responsibility, or the institution charged with the responsibility to do that submission, what they know is the procedure. So I wait to see what they do.
What Dr. Richardson, I beg you, I know I want us to stick on here. You want to ask a question on the House of Representatives because it's very important. We shouldn't just
Yes,
leave
it
it.
is. It is.
Yes, so go ahead. I want us to hold on to it till the rest of the guys can come on, please.
So I've been actually wondering about your party, the Unity Party. There are members of the majority bloc, I call it the anti-good governance bloc, who are Unity Party members. Have your president, Buckeye, or the member of the chair of the party consider having a conversation with these members so that they can come back and exercise the due process of law?
So I try to stay away from party issue consistent with what the code of conduct requires of me as a public official. So I wouldn't want to not talk about what the party may be doing in these instances. But at the same time, there must be a recognition that these lawmakers, like the ones you have from the CDC, I mean, why are we even forgetting that 11 persons from the CDC signed on to removing a speaker who belongs to their institution? So we're not sure that the individuals in the House of Representatives elected by their own people, yes, they come from party, but they are elected by constituency, districts all over the country, and they should know what their responsibilities are. It's not in our place to be telling them what to do and what not to do, frankly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the Information Minister, Gerald McPierre. He's our guest for today. We beg him to extend the time because the rest of the guys joining us late due to the change of time. We want to say we love your questions and your comment. Please, we'll read them up to the minister. If you ask a question, we will ask him. It's very important at this time in Liberia, we need to ask the minister all of our questions. So we will stick with the House of Representatives. Send that to Richardson raises that topic up. It's very important. That's a trending issue in the country. We will not
you won't get a House of Representatives,
but let me squeeze in this real quick. Let me squeeze in this before we bring in Asiva and Dr. Patrick. So, one of Madame Salif, you a student of Madame Salif. You work well in her government, and may God grace her. Honor Madame Salif, you saw that she took the budget to the majority bloc. She didn't present the budget to the speaker in the case of those guys that were removed. If I'm mistaken, correct me. Whose side can you say the president is on in this fight? Though he have 20 some of his folks, almost 30 of them, asking for the speaker remover. I will ask you the question in twofold. President Joseph Yeman Bwaka, whose side is he on? Number one. Number two, can he speak to his base? Because those group of representative, majority, they are from Unity Party. Why is he not speaking to them? If he desired to keep Wenati Kofa, I mean, what's the message this brings to the Liberian people? The Honorable Gerald McPierre.
So in these instances, you're not just going to be in the midst of what the president may want to, whether he's speaking to people, whether he's even speaking to Speaker Kofa himself, on how on the need for them to do something together to resolve the crisis, whether he's speaking to the other group. It's not something that's going to be declared to me because necessarily I'm the Minister of Information. But what I know that I've heard from the president, and which I stated earlier, I said you want to bring the question back, is that the president has not chosen to interfere in what is happening. He respects the fact that the legislature is a branch of the government, three separate coordinated branches of government, as I indicated. What they have is their own internal issues. It is our hope that they will resolve their internal issues among themselves, notwithstanding the current speaker, in their effort to resolve, also decided that the law was going to be one of the ways to handle it, and he went to court. When matters that didn't reach the court, then you must allow the court to exhaust whatever they want to do. And I think that will even further prevent President Bouaka to wanting to intervene, while hoping at the same time that this matter can certainly be resolved because the country has to move forward.
Honorable Pierre, thank you very much, guys. You have question on the House of Representatives saga as we ask the Honorable Minister. I'm going to bring you in first, as if your 2 questions, and then we'll go to Brother Patrick. From there, Patrick, his 2 questions.
But Patrick should ask question, but not on the House because Patrick is conflicted in this situation. So he can be journalist and be what he is at the same time.
When I'm asking my question, CEO, I'll make the clarity.
Thank you.
I
bring it. So guys, we are running on time. We hope we can get enough with the Honorable Minister. Your 2 questions, Mr. Toba.
Yes. So, Mr. Minister, different people have kind of accused different camps of being involved. Some people have said the United Party is orchestrating some of these things initially. Some people are of the opinion that Thomas Farrar and George Weah, I was one of those who thought that. And it seemed that things have changed. But then at one point, also it seemed that there were different interests converging to get to this point. What is your position on the due process issue and the respecting of the speaker as the presiding officer in the legislature, and what needs to happen for him to be relieved of that responsibility?
So you see, when I start to have an opinion as a person on things such as due process and making a determination as to what should happen and what should not happen, then in a way I'll be making an interference. I think the question of due process and all of these things were what led the speaker to proceed to the Supreme Court. Because if someone believes they are not being given due process, or they believe a process that is ongoing does not meet the barriers of minimum legal requirement, the place to address that is the court. So it's good that the speaker went to the court. I cannot have a personal opinion on what they should do, what they should not do, how they should proceed. They got their own rules in addition to the laws of the nation. I'm sure they look at their rules, they look at the laws of the nation, they have the disagreement, and then one side went to court, which is the best thing to do because the court is the place where you can resolve issues when you have some doubt as to whether the right thing is being done. I think it should remain in the court, in the bar of the court. It should not come to me, because if I try to tell you now what my opinion is as to what a due process is given and what constitutes due process or what's supposed to be done, in a way, away from what the approach the president has taken so far of not interfering, as a cabinet minister, I will be doing exactly what the president has afforded. So I'm not sure I want to say anything about that. It'd be better.
All right. Thank you. So the perspective of some people will be that wherever the president submits the budget to, it means that he's endorsing that particular faction if he does it that way. But like you said earlier, the work of the government has to go on. So already to this point, what do you think has been the impact on the operations of government? And then if the budget comes into play, and I believe the budget is already a little bit delayed in when it was supposed to be submitted. I don't know whether it was tactical in terms of this whole thing going on, or whether it was actually because they were doing work for the budget. But
the budget was still being worked on, I think. We were not ready to submit it because it was not yet complete. So one additional week was requested, and by our standard, that 1 week is supposed to come to bear by Friday. Would there be a further request for extension? I don't know. Will it be submitted on that Friday as was requested? I may also not know, and that's what I said to Stanton and that Richardson before you guys came on, that we all should look forward to a Friday, and they were pushing me to say, so Friday, who the thing will be submitted to? And I was clear that I'm not the one who's going to submit it. So let's wait and see what those who, because I have not had a conversation with them prior to coming, so to make a proclamation on what they would do, I could basically inform you. I could tell you something, say they would do it this way. And then Friday comes, they do something else, and then you say, "Oh, the information minister came right on this platform and lied to us that this is what it was going to be."
Right. But the first part of my
Thank
question
you.
was the impact on
Yeah.
government so far with
So,
this still
so
mid.
there is.
Do you think
So
it's
there,
significant?
yeah, there are impacts because you see, the legislature is there with specific functions. For example, we in the executive, these are people who have oversight responsibility because their work is how you call it, representation, oversight, and lawmaking. So if you're not, uh, if in a conflict situation, I guess it has some impact on what may happen. For example, why if they wanted to call the Minister of Information? Because that's one thing they do so frequently. Some of people left and right. Why if they wanted to do it? So say Speaker Kofasa called me, Minister of Information, you are summoned. And consistently at that same time, the other side sent me letters say you are summoned. It's a conflict situation. You would be trying to pull me in because where do I go? Go to the both of you, and why if you schedule my summon the same hour, same day, same hour, everything. So when those kinds of things happen, then of course there could be some consequences, slowing the function of government and all of that. But then again, they've gone to court, and let's hope that the court process will help them to resolve the matter.
So let me bring in Vandana Patrick. VP, you have 2 questions, sir.
So I see, I'm Mr. Patrick's, Fandela Ara Patrick's. But I think my new name is Regroup, as you said last night. But let me make a clarity quickly. Mr. Minister, it's good to have you on this platform. I respect you a whole lot. Very good, big brother. But just a point of clarity, I have not taken side. I'm not conflicted. I am defending the rule of law. Having said that, you were to submit this budget last week, but the government formally, through the office of the president, communicated to the House of Representatives, stating that you need additional 1 week to submit the budget. Friday, you should be officially submitting the budget. I heard you saying you cannot speak as to whether there will be another request for additional week. But as a cabinet minister who goes to cabinet meeting, I am sure before this proposal was made, it was discussed in cabinet, maybe the Minister of Finance communicated with other cabinet ministers, and you being the spokesperson of the government, you might have been informed. Tonight, can you please tell the Liberian people, if the president does not submit this budget, or the Minister of Finance cannot submit this budget to the House of Representatives, does that mean that this president or this government is trying to fuel the conflict within the House of Representatives? Because the more you delay the budget, you give legitimacy to 2 sides. That's my conviction. How can you address that?
All right, so Vandela, let make a realization here. In many years, I worked in the Saliva administration, like Stanton said. In many years, this is one of the first time that the government is endeavoring to submit a budget in a time frame that allows the legislature to deliberate on that budget for a couple of weeks before passage. In that passage, when the budget year is already gone 3-4 months into it, they're trying to do something that will lead to the passage of the budget so that from January 1, because our new budget cycle, which used to be from June to September, is no longer. It's from January to December. So that from January 1, if the legislature proceeds in doing what they're supposed to do, you have a budget. This is the first time that is happening. So when the request was made for a 1 week suspension, a delay, we didn't necessarily have to have cabinet to do that. In fact, we have, during that cycle you're talking about, we've not had cabinet meeting. The function of preparing and developing the budget rests with the Ministry of Finance. The Ministry of Finance made a determination that the budget will not be ready for submission as was scheduled to. and therefore they asked for one additional week. What I said in response to whether it will be submitted on Friday or whether they will make another request is because when Stanton asked me earlier, you were not on, will the budget be submitted on Friday? My specific answer to Stanton was, that was the pronouncement made. I have not heard something on the contrary. So I must assume that they're sticking to that. But that's an assumption. What if it changes? What if those who ask for 1 week have not done what they're supposed to do, and they come and say, oh, give her additional 1 week? You said in your question, would that not amount to trying to feel, when the government budgetary preparation was on, it was not done with any recognition of an anticipated conflict in the lower house. So it cannot be the guiding instrument that determines when we conclude, when we submit. It purely has to be based on account of the finance ministry is convinced, they have finalized the budget, they have crossed their T's, they have dotted their I's, and the budget is ready for submission. That's why it would be hinged on, and not about the unfolding conflict.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. My last question has to do with the intricate variables involved with respect to the ongoing conflict at the House of Representatives. Assuming with our admitting that this thing drags on for additional 1 month, and the president is under obligation to submit the budget, what is the president contemplating on? As a government official who sits in cabinet meeting, what are the public officials contemplating on? Nobody knows as to whether this thing will end next week or 1 month or 2 months. It's a legal battle. What is the government contemplating? What is your plan B? If this thing continues to go on, civil servants will have to take pay. Medication will have to be in the hospitals. The people who are sick, MRI, we don't even have many of them in our hospitals. People are dying. Just yesterday, I visited JFK. 2 persons died because they never had bed to admit them. And it was painful, very painful. When the budget is delayed, many of the things that we want this government to succeed on, it will be stalled. So when the political battle and legal battle at the House of Representatives drags on for additional 2 months, what is the government planning to do? What is the government? When you sit with this president, what runs in his mind? What are the mechanisms put into place just in case, because he cannot interfere? What is he going to do with the budget? How is he going to find alternative measures to address these concerns, pay civil servants, teachers?
Good question, Patrick, and probably you displaying some of your Harvard skills, strong brother. Good question, but this is it. You see, when we have conflict, even if I had a conflict with you, and Stanton as a friend between the both of us, we want to intervene and say, oh, I can help Vendela and Jerolime to quench this situation. There is something that is bigger than that intervention that Stanton will want to make. And that's something that is bigger than him, is the law. Naturally, when people have problems, they seek to resolve their problem, it's to the law. In the middle of this conflict, the speaker realized that. Don't forget, the speaker is a lawyer by profession himself. He realized that in all the disagreements we have in all the stalemate we have in, there is a place of solution. And that's before the law. He went before the law. My thing is, assuming that this thing is supposed to drag on the way you envisage it, it will not necessarily be about the president figuring out, because the president cannot be doing something that is not required or called for by the law. It is within the context of the law that this matter must be resolved. And I'm sure, even with the separate and coordinating nature of our government, the court is there to help us find solutions to conflicts when they exist. And if the need be, where we in a perpetual stalemate or deadlock or whatever, I believe at that point, the court will be used and the court will do the right thing, because the court's action will always be based on the merits of the law. But we are also saying to ourselves, these are people elected, and you belong to some of the constituents where the people were elected. They owe you, they represent you. What are you saying to them? as people they represent in the place. Are you folding your hands and say, oh, this thing that the president must resolve it, the president must resolve it, and you're not speaking to your lawmakers? So there are different fronts at which you can engage, in addition to the fact that, all in all, if there is no progress, it must be resolved by the law, and the court is there. And someone has realized that and already gone to the court. So let's see what happens.
So one may
All
think
right,
that
thank you very much. Our brother Vandela, Aaron Patrick's. We want to say thank you very much for your two questions. While we move on, this 8th will be on Friday, which is the day after tomorrow. They went to the Supreme Court. The justice in chamber said, listen, go back to your normal duty. We cannot carry on the rate which were prayed for by the Speaker Funati Kofa and his team. The question that Liberians are very, very concerned about right now, if this rate continue and there is no other redress from Speaker Kofa and his team, as everything remain constant, no court intervention, Mr. Minister, not the Supreme Court, nothing whatsoever. That is to say, the budget should be submitted. I know I don't want to put you in a situation you can handle, but it's very, very important that you didn't answer that question whether the president will submit the budget or Gafwan will submit the budget to the speaker. A lot of folks on our live feed that you drilled in the question. You say, I don't know. They will send it to the chief clerk. You call in the pro tem. We are just talking about this speaker. If the chief clerk, the deputy chief clerk, they are all with the majority bloc, then are you telling the Liberian people once submitted, the budget will be in the hands of Thomas Fala and the majority bloc? Because you must give it to the chief clerk or the deputy chief clerk.
So I didn't say that either. And today is Wednesday, Stanton. Friday is just a stone throw away. And those who have the statutory and legal responsibility to submit the budget will submit the budget. You and I will be there. We'll see how it will be submitted, where it will be submitted, and whatever it is. I prefer to handle it that way. You see, because I got strong concerns about my reputation. It's better I tell somebody I don't know something than to say something and the next meeting they say the Minister of Information lied. So let's respect what I have said.
So you don't know.
So it's based on what is available. I don't know where it will be submitted.
Okay. So at least you throw in the white flag. Why the budget not submitted? What was the excuse given by Gafwan?
The budget was not ready.
There must be a reason you care to tell us why
it was not ready. The budget.
Is it true that because you guys needed the IMF $40 million to come in and make all the necessary correction, because of those reasons, you had a little delay in the budget?
Simply put, the budget was not ready.
Is it because of other additional money from partners? I don't want you to just give a vague budget not ready. You are the information minister. Let's get into the substance why the budget was not ready.
I'll give you an example why the budget was not ready. My ministry, for example.
Do you know that because of money coming, 40 million coming from IMF, that dragged this budget issue? Is that true?
So I know that the budget was not ready because my ministry, for example, they had to work on Sunday. They stay at the ministry all day because of the details that were required from all ministries to ensure the finalization of the budget. So the budget was not ready. And if it is being submitted on Friday, it will be submitted because it will be fully ready.
Real quick, before we go to Dr. Richardson, while we're on the budget, there's a communication that came up concerning the military that they have not gotten the pay. Can you talk to us? Have the military taken the pay in 7? Have they taken the pay for the month of October, sir?
So, when it comes to these security issues, I don't even know why that became an issue because it was not an impression that there was not money to pay the military. It was a situation of the day they expected that their money would have been paid. It was not going to be ready, and somebody had to be responsible enough to communicate with their command structure and say, this is what it will be. And to the best of my knowledge, when I spoke to some of the authorities the other day, I'm told that matter was resolved and the situation was settled. Except somebody didn't tell me the truth, but at least from what I know, from what I was told, that matter should be settled. You muted. You muted.
All right, thank you. So the military have been paid for the month of October. That's what you were told?
From what I'm told, that's why it should be.
Have you confirmed that with Gafwan?
From what I'm told, that's why it should be.
Have you confirmed that with Gafwan? Or the ministry? Let me say the finance ministry. I don't want you to leave and you say, but somebody has told you. You are the information minister. Have you confirmed that from the finance ministry? Or the defense ministry?
All right, that's where I was coming. It doesn't necessarily have to be the finance minister.
Have you confirmed that with the finance or the defense ministry?
If the folks who are working at the Ministry of Information are paid, I should know as a minister. And I'm saying to you, to the best of my knowledge, that's what I'm told, that matter has been resolved.
Okay, so Dr. Richardson, let's talk about the salary thing. We will be opening the phone line. Have Civil 7 gotten the salary? Because yesterday on Click, and I want to play this clip, Senator from Grand Jeda County, Zopena, he raised an issue that Civil 7 have not gotten their pay. People in Grand Jeda, teachers and workers from his county have not gotten the pay. Though the senators make it out of joke, and Darius they don't say, but you as a senator have not gotten your pay yet. It's like they are despising the Civil 7. But let's stick to this issue. Have the Civil 7 gotten the pay for the month of October, Mr. Minister? All right.
So before you go to that, let me give you additional information, because some of the authorities are listening, and one of the authorities listening is the Minister of Finance. And let me tell you what he has indicated to me. Since you wanted specifically, you are concerned about him.
Correct.
The military payment started before the end of October. And by the 1st of November, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning had fully credited all accounts of AFL employees. This comes officially from the Minister of Finance. So I guess it meets your satisfaction.
No, not really. But I want to upload the letter. Then somebody is not saying the truth. The letter from the military. And can he give us the exact time payments were issued? Because I think if he tell you, say, almost to, he's not being accurate. If you want to satisfy the questions, then let's just go into it.
I said you are not listening. I read it in clear. The payment started, that's what I read, and you said time, the payment started before the end of October. And by
that's not time. That's not time. Before the end of October, that's not time.
No, you're not listening. If you're listening, then you will allow me to end it.
I am listening. You said before the end of October.
It started. But if you allow me to read the whole thing, then you will not ask the question you asked.
Okay, then go ahead, read it.
What the statement says, the payment started before the end of October, and by the 1st of November, the MFDP has credited all the account. Specific date, by the 1st of November.
Yeah, but you know what, Mr. Minister, chill. We have to get the information to the people.
I'm chilling, bro.
And you and myself go on this road all the time. My question was exact. I'm about to send you the letter from the defense ministry, all right? And we can also go into as to what Gafwan is saying. That's why I asked you, did you speak to the finance minister? You couldn't answer, and you say you spoke to people from the defense ministry. Now the finance minister is saying before the end of October, all the way up to the 1st, every account was credited. Now, let's put that aside for a minute. Have the Civil 7 gotten the pay, the salary for the month of October?
Before we go to the Civil 7 thing, you got to correct something. You see, as I'm sitting here, every piece of work I author, I take note of them. At no point in this conversation, I mentioned Ministry of Defense saying anything to me. I consistently say, all your colleagues here can witness. I consistently said, to the best of my ability, the information available to me, that issue has been settled. And that everybody on the show. But I'm still here. You say I said
No,
defense
no, no,
minister.
but I asked you about finance. You said, but not only finance, that defense. And I went to defense. You say, yes, that's what I was about to say. We got
No,
a clip we can play, but I'm not going to rest on that. Have the
Yeah,
civil
let me-
servant gotten that? Have the civil servant gotten the salary for the month of October?
So all the people who work in the Ministry of Information are civil servants, and they have all been paid. And the reason why I've made specific reference to the Ministry of Information, the process depend because the different ministries are assigned to different banks, and those banks do different work to credit different accounts. So it is possible that the Ministry of Defense gets paid maybe 5 days ago, another ministry got paid 3 days later, another one got paid 5 days later, and they will spread across. For the people in the county, sometimes it takes even more slower than that. But when that is happening, it means that the government has prepared salary payment for all in the civil sector. How it gets credited in their accounts is a process that may vary from entity to entity. So yes, the government is constant and is current with the payment of civil service salary.
So quickly, CEO,
No, let that big. Hold on, brother Fandela. Let me go to Dr. Richardson. Let me go to Dr. Richardson. Let's do the roundtable. I'm begging guys. Let's welcome Dr. Bouple and our brother Paul Kennedy. We'll come to you, brother Patrick. Dr. Richardson, you can take us to the next conversation where the guys meet us. That way we'll continue because it's 10:16 right now in Liberia, and we should be very, very careful with the time. Dr. Richardson.
So I'm going to take us right where we are right now and then move us to.
Before you talk, let me tell Stanton, thank you. Even though he said he brought me for 1 hour, I've gone 2 hours. But go ahead, it's good.
How will you say you go 2 hours? It's just 1 hour 46 minutes since we've been on the show.
1 hour 46 minutes are 2 hours. Basically.
That's the same way the people wrote that to Richardson. You see, let me say this, guys. You don't get between Fandela, Patrick, and myself. And I bought a post this. I want you to go back to the text. Chief of Staff verbal directive dated October 30th, 2024, concerning this payment issue. That's why we're asking you, be exact on the date. So the minister cannot just send an empty thing and say, almost to the end. Almost to the end is not a time. And Gafwa know better. And Gafwa know better. But we'll come back to it. Dr. Richardson.
You see the minister saying empty thing, but I stop it, man.
No, but Gafan knows better. How can Gafan don't put time? He's a finance minister. He should be with time, date, season, and out of season. He can give up vague stuff and say almost to the end. That's why you will put on document when IMF asking you almost to the end. Are you kidding me? So when he started paying these people, the letter that came out. The letter that came out was the 30th of October. No. But Gafan shouldn't do this to us.
You're getting your Stanton element now.
All right, I'll come down. Thank you. Dr. Richardson, go ahead.
My question to you is,
yes,
I heard you just talk about the variations in when people get paid, and you are blaming the banking system. Is there anything that you believe that your government can do about this? Because I think that, to have some people being paid the 1st and some people being paid the 5th or the 16th, it just doesn't seem right to me. It seems like out of order or something like that. I don't know if there's other systems where I've heard this done before,
Yeah, it is not. And fortunately, I've been around for a bit. Let me tell you what used to happen this leave time, for example. You start the processing of civil servant salary from the 15th. Because you see, people work for a whole month. If you pay somebody on the 15th, they still got 15 more days to work for. So either you almost prepaying and you credit to them. But because of the amount of government entities that got to be covered, they will start from that 15. It is possible some people got their accounts credited by the 15, some got their credited by the 16, the 17, and so forth. The goal was before the month ends, because you owe people salaries when the month ends. But if you were to determine to pay everybody at the end of the month, then some may spill over based on when banks will do posting and etc. So the goal was when you start by the 15th, no matter what happens before the month ends, you pay all your civil servants. That process, I guess, still continues because before Minister Gafan could come in, I know the Minister of Finance was at the Maker press briefing on the day and they said yes, we commence that business of beginning the payment of civil servant salary by the 15th. We try to meet a goal of ensuring that before the month ends, and that's the time you actually pay people for, then everybody are paid. So, for example, I think it was 2 days ago that people in my ministry saw their lights in their account. It's into the new month. Some people have gotten it before the end of the month that they were being paid for. In our case, that's the time we got it. It's just some of the operational issues that you're right could be resolved to make it better, to make something uniform and all of that. I mean, I don't argue that, because when in governance, and not just governance, in everything you do, you may see hurdles and obstacles. It must be a mindset on your part to say, we can change this thing, we can make it better than why it is, and not yet keep. So you're right. I mean, and I hope the appropriate authorities are listening, they see the wisdom in what you say, and they could give it some consideration.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I actually I didn't think you answered my question to you about the president getting involved with the members who deflected, to members of the Unity Party who deflected.
You're going back to the horse again?
Yes. I just want you to know that I felt like you went back to CDC explanation, like, oh, CDC wrote their people and what have you. So I just wanted to register that. I don't think you fairly answered my question, but you don't have to answer that now. You can answer at another time. But I feel like in order for this issue to be resolved, the Unity Party members have to be called and spoken to and asked to go and face the gavel of the speaker, whoever Fanati Kofa, because it's affecting them as well. It's affecting the entire government, as you register here today, as you demonstrated here today. But they are also being affected. It's their government has been affected. So I just wanted to say that. But Senna, did you want me to move on?
Considering their independence and the separable nature of the governance system, assuming we say that, and they say no, what is it? So you see, that's why I say the law is a right framework through which you can resolve that. And I think the speaker realized that, and that's why he went to the Supreme Court. Because it's one thing. I mean, look, even though when we give the explanation, somebody will say, "Oh, but a CDC explanation." But the truth is, Speaker Kofa is a CDC speaker. 11 seditions signed a resolution to remove him. Is that people say, if your horse doesn't sell you, the street will not buy you. So rather than focusing the attention on the other people, it's like, look, that rages in my house. I put my own house on fire. My enemies will not help me to cut the fire off necessarily. Maybe they will bring gasoline or more fuel. So I must not put my house on fire in the first place. And maybe the way to address the fire situation is to say, hey, what are you doing this to your own person? Aren't you the same people who created the speaker? Why you want to remove your own man? Correct. So then they take the responsibility more than the people who you think aiding and abetting the process. So I am not into too much the other person said. The only reason why we spoke to this issue from the beginning was because from day one it happened, the former president wrote a long statement pointing the accusing finger at the office of the president and the executive branch of the government for being the masterminds. And we were asking our questions. So the executive branch now is the mastermind, is being the instructing 11 of your own people to facilitate something that they are the masterminds of. It didn't make much sense to me, but that's where we are.
Man, thank you very much for that, Dr. Richardson. Thank you, guys. Let's just move on. I know some of you that came late probably have questions on the House of Representatives, but we have dealt with those questions. We have issue about LDA, LDC, NSA, the yellow machine, the STEM program that was introduced today, a very good program. Conversation about the road, good governance, the overview, and other things that may be on your mind. So we're going to go back now to do the roundtable. Guys, please come in with one powerful question that we can do this thing real quick and try to make the necessary adjustment. We'll go to our brother Abatuba, Vandela Patrick's, Dr. Bopler, and Paul Kennedy.
So we can ask questions, right? Not necessarily we all of that stuff.
No, you can go ahead. Go ahead. Ask your question, brother.
Okay. So Minister, since we're talking about salary, I just want to know what's the status of salary, because you have staff at the different embassies and other places. And some of the minister counselors for press and public affairs at some of the missions, supposedly there have been rumors or grumblings that the we government left them in limbo. They were not paid, and some of them had to pawn some of their stuff and all to try to make things happen. So with the continuity of government, are you aware of that, or is there any plan to try to make those people whole so they don't lose, whatever situation they're in terms of if they did really pawn stuff, or just for them to be caught up in the salary?
So I think there were some issues. Towards the end of the administration, there were new deployments made in the Foreign Service. The procedures and processes were not effectively concluded. So many of these people who were deployed were almost seen like abandoned people because they were not captured in the system as they should have been. And because the whole thing was a rush situation. And I'm sure some of those people have some problem that we all heard and followed. The Ministry of Information, for example, is responsible for deploying minister counselors for press and public affairs. We don't have the capacity because we are a small ministry to deploy them everywhere we have embassies. So I think we have about 7 missions where we deploy minister counselors. In Africa, is in Ghana and Nigeria. Then we have some in Paris, in Belgium, in Germany, at the UN mission, in Washington, D.C., in China. For all those people, what we were able to do effectively, and which is current, is that rather than waiting to pay them monthly as it used to be before, we pay them quarterly. So when you pay them, it's for a whole quarter. They're able to pay their rent, and then they ought to manage the salary and do what they're supposed to do. Just today, the controller brought documentation for me to sign onto their rent and salary, which will be going for another round of quarter. So from our perspective, yes, we on course. If I should be able to speak generally, not just about minister counselor, but what is happening in the Foreign Service, it will require a small conversation with the Minister of Foreign Affairs to have some details rather than making assumptions.
Okay, my second question, I know you're doing
Let's do it 1-1. We'll come back. I'll say, I beg you. Let's do it 1-1. I beg you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought it was 2.
Yeah, no, let's do it 1-1 real quick. We'll come back. Let me go to Vandana Patrick. Mr. Patrick?
Yeah, so thank you. Clarity. I've done my independent investigation with respect to the payment of salaries. And I can confirm to you that the Ministry of Finance have processed 65 spending entities, send them to the commercial banks, collected information, and the delay from what I have gathered is the fact that, and having worked in government before, commercial banks delay in the processing of salaries of civil servants. So I just wanted to state it clearly, so that, but this is not an endorsement of what you're saying, Mr. Minister. But what are you doing in government
I want endorsement
to prevail on this banking institution? I am a victim. The Ministry of Finance used to process our, stuff and send it to commercial banks, but they would delay in the process, and it really used to get to us. As a government that promises transparency and accountability, when the Ministry of Finance process, what are you doing to ensure that these commercial banking institutions also live by their objective to speed up the process so that the largest you are receiving tonight, you're not receiving?
So I'm receiving larges, eh?
Oh, yeah,
So, but anyway, okay, so it goes back to what Dr. Richardson said earlier. And you see that I agree with her that the fact that something has been done in a particular way is continuing doesn't mean you can focus on it to make it a little better. I mean, I alluded to that. So the point you made is genuine, is valid. And from the conversation we're having here, I know who's listening, who's not listening, and so the people in the sector are also listening. They're hearing you. They're hearing the concern, not just from you, but if they're reading the comments, they are looking at what people are saying, and I'm sure they're taking cognizance of all these concerns, and they will certainly do something about it. I mean, but it's a genuine concern you have.
Thank you very much. Our Minister, Jeremy Pierre, will be going to Dr. Bopler. Before we do so, yes, the letter from the Armed Forces of Liberia. It came up on the 30th of October 2024. So again, thank God you say Minister Gaffwan is listening. Whether he start the process on the 30th or he started the process on the 31st, I think he needs to be more clear on his text messages to you, because by then they said that salary will not be issued, and these are concerning. So where the minister stands, I think he need to clarify further. 1, 2, while you're on the phone with the minister and he listened to the show, can he tell you why was the budget delayed exactly for the Liberian people to understand? Because he can text you on the salary issue, but he cannot respond to why the budget delayed. And what we're hearing in the news media, it was delayed because of the request of $40 million, which they were expecting to make some salary adjustment. I will leave that with Minister Gaffwan. If he chooses to reply to you, we appreciate. Dr. Bopler, can you please come in with your question?
So you will not leave it hanging. I will come back to it.
No, you will after Dr. Bopler asks. Take it forward.
What I said,
let it
the budget was delayed because it was not ready, and that's why you should take.
But you are not the finance minister. There must be a reason why it was delayed. I cannot hold you
because it was not ready.
No, it was not ready. Would not be the excuse you put on your bank slip. That's a wrong excuse. You owe it to the Liberian people. So when we ask this question, you can just we are not just followers. You just cannot say it was not ready, so therefore we'll not tell you guys. You guys work for the Liberian people. When we ask, we deserve an answer. It was not ready. It's not the answer that Gaffwan can give us.
The boy getting in element again. The budget was not ready.
I ain't get element. Dr. Bopler, please ask your question.
Thank you, CEO. Honorable Minister, good to see you. Good evening.
Yeah, it's nice to see. I've listened to you a couple of times, but I have not been fortunate to be on the show while you were there. So it's good to be here with you.
Well, it's good to be here with you also. So I have a question. The issue with salaries delay, have been something that have plagued our country for a long time. And oftentimes salary delay, but yet a whole lot of other expenditure occur. In this case, in the first 9 months, 10 months of this government, as you know, there's been a lot of trips abroad and around the world. But then we hear salaries not paid. So I want to ask you, because like we all do, that people or the government, when we talk about the government, we're not talking about infrastructure, we're talking about people. And the obligation to pay people is one that the government must hold sacrosanct. These are people with families. Is there a policy that this government can put in place that prioritizes payment of salaries as a number one expense? And by number one, I mean in terms of operation month by month. There are other things the government has to do. And then other things become secondary, like trips. Those things are optional. In other words, if the people at the AFL have not been paid, right, and the payment is coming due next week, and there's a trip to go to France next week, that will postpone that trip or miss that one so that we can hold the resources and pay people. Because I really think if our government can be the government that pays people on time for the next 5 years, you will be a government that stands in a class by itself. Is there a policy that you can put in place, a fiscal practice, so that salary payment always first, then other things? Mr. Minister.
So the first thing to correct is that there's not a crisis year with salary payment. And
I didn't say it was a crisis.
No, you said the question of not paying people's salary. So
it's something that has happened over the decades in our country.
Yeah, quite agree. But like before you, John, like I said to Stanton when he asked the question, we have tried under this administration to be current. And some of the challenges that sometimes make everybody not receiving their pay at the same time were raised by Dr. Richardson earlier and raised by Vandala. And I'd said that was something that is recognized. And that doesn't come against the background of the government not making the payments in time. It's been some challenge with posting because everybody paid by direct deposit. So it's been some challenge with posting by different banks. Every bank got some different challenges because we pay everybody through the bank, but not one bank. Every bank got a number of government entities and so forth. So based on some of the processes that they use, there may be days of delay in when the person account is fully credited. But at the governmental level, at the Ministry of Finance, they've been ensuring that the processing of people's salary is done month by month and in a timely manner. Can it be made better, like Vandala said, to engage the commercial banks so that they act in a way that make their operational thing to look consistent with the timing of the government? Yes, we should be able to do that, because you can be doing something and you think that because the way it is, it always has to be like that. When the other people have problems because we're dealing with them, we got to engage in, as Bandera said, to make sure that they see the need to improve the efficiency of what they do to make sure people accounts are credited in time. It's a fair concern, and I don't see any reason why anybody from government should be opposed to that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Pierre. Let me bring in Paul Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy, please, your question.
Good evening to everyone. Good evening, Honorable Minister. It's good to see you.
Good evening, brother. Good evening.
So, when people work, they have to get paid. And to all extent, let's give some gratitude to the government for improving on this area. Why do we have a centralized pay system only coming from the Ministry of Finance? Why can't every paying government ministry have the ability to pay their own staff and their own people? I mean, you being around the world, for us who live in the US, when government pays, all of the agencies get money that same day. Soon as they press the button, everybody gets paid. Some people don't get paid today, the other people get paid next week, and so forth. Why is the Ministry of Finance centralizing the payment for all of civil servants and people who are supposed to be employee of government in the country? And what policy, Mr. Minister, are you putting in place at your ministry? And again, thank you for the weekly press review. But what policy are you putting in place so that the Liberian people are informed of government activity? Most of the time, we have to assume and sit down there and think what government's supposed to do without any effective information getting to us. What are you doing in those regards, sir?
So a lot. You see, one of the reasons why since I took over as the Minister of Information, I guess over 50 additional media institutions that did not exist are existing. I signed those licenses to make sure that they have the space to function. The reason why we do that is it's not just the Mika press briefing, for example, that takes the information to the people. It's the pluralistic nature of the media entities. If you don't have the Spoon, you don't have the OKFN, you don't have the, and just name them, including all the new ones we have, then we can get out. When you go to the Mika press briefing, the people you see in the rooms are people from the different media institutions. And the goal is for them to help us to get the information out to the people. As a ministry, Paul, I worked at the Ministry of Information before. For so long, I give you some just practical instances. When I used to be there as a deputy minister, at one point they brought some foreign experts and consultants who came, and we worked together to develop what was the government's strategic communication strategy. At a cabinet media presentation was made, and everybody was celebrating that wonderful document. You know where we bid rest in peace to that document? When the man came to the financial side of it, as soon as he got the money, it was the end of that plan. Because People see communication from, and Stanton will know, he runs a media entity. He knows what a packet goes through to keep it running. But there's always a temptation of people thinking that communication is cheap. No, it's not. And as a government, not just this government, from time to time, we've not made focused on communication. Most of the times, what we do is knee-jerk reaction. When your feet is under the fire, the people tearing you apart, then people see the need to quickly act. When everything will look like it's okay, then it is considered normal. That's what we've been. But even in the midst of those challenges, what I have been able to initiate along with a team, in Ghana, you go there, you see the daily graphic, it's the state a newspaper. Very regular, powerful. People leave a private newspaper, and everybody will be looking for a copy of the daily graphic. New Liberia, we've been struggling forever. Most time, it will come here once a week. Certain time, can you disappear? From the time I took over as the Minister of Information, that paper is out 3 times a week. Vandala is here, he could confirm it. The Minister of Information press briefing we're talking about was either once a week or didn't happen at all. There's been no breach since we took over in making it 2 times a week, and sometimes, depending on demand from different sectors of the government, it goes more than that. For the first time in the history of the entity, we run a magazine, New Liberia magazine, that is run on a quarterly basis. We had a challenge with the Liberian News Agency because of the situation we have with Kwame Weeks. We found a way to resolve it, take away what you wanted to take away. The new team came there. The bulletin, the Lena bulletin, everybody receiving it. So we pull a lasting out of these things. And currently what the team is doing is we're going back to the concept of wanting to have a strategic communication strategy which is being developed. I'm just worried and a little bit afraid, if I should say, that it will be done, and then when it comes to the costing aspect, we have to say rest in peace again. I hope not. But that's what the truth is. And I was telling Stanton before you came, because of how we've expanded the media landscape, even getting across the different media entities is a challenge. To the extent that some people would think intentionally, you've chosen where you want to go. Oh, you want to come to Spoon, you want to go to ERBC, you want to go there, you don't want to come to the other station. Because just going to all of them alone, even if it would take a whole year, you will not complete, because there's so many. But that's what we have to do. We have to find ways to engage all of them because the audiences are different. We continue to do so. We endeavor to do so. But just realize we're human beings. And sometimes you say the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. That's what we face with sometimes. But there's no leaning back. We know this is what we have to do. Even if they give up money, then give up money. For example, when I took over the ministry, and I will just say this for the record, and Vandela went there a couple of times, when it rains, everywhere leaking. Everywhere. All building, dilapidated. Just a week and a half ago, we have to change the entire roof. Change it in a way that it will take the next 60 years before that place leaks. Because we use the long aluminum zinc from SETI, brother, change the entire roof. It's brand new. It's brand new. We have to plan to transform it completely. We have not had the resources. We have ensured that even as we have completed the roof, we're going to paint the entire building, change some of the windows. But here's the good news about our effort. In the draft national budget, the government listened to my plea that this building is falling. Not allow it to fall over people and kill them. So they've budgeted for it, meaning it's a funding that will be easily accessed and the building will be transformed. That's what they call the PSRP, public sector investment, because it's a government property. As you fix it, tomorrow Jerome PI is gone, that building is there. It's owned by the government. The maintenance of public buildings in our country is a challenge. And so when I went and saw that building built in 1961 or 62, one of the two, and it has not been able to go on any structural adjustment, I felt personally obligated to make sure that even if I stay in the Ministry of Information for 1 year, that situation should change before I leave. And Vandera knows that.
Let me hold you there. We got more questions.
Let me end my team at Stanton. What kind of man you have?
That's your listen.
Let me just Minister Pierre, please do not call Vandera name on the show. You will want to respond whatever you call his name.
You let him, man.
He will want to respond, and I have to
Oh,
control
okay.
that. So
All right,
so
all right,
please don't
all
call
right.
his name. But I
Don't,
want us to
don't let me
move.
on this show. I know you don't like me. I accept it. No problem. Let you go ahead. No problem.
I want us to move on to the other conversation because of time. We got 60 minutes to spend again. It will take us to 11 o'clock, so we got 60 more minutes with you. Let's talk about the president program today. A lot of folks were asking me, and I think Spoon covered it. Talk to us about the STEM program and how would this benefit Liberians? Or what would be some of the downsides to this? Talk to us, please.
Yes, I mean, good question. You know, we run a number of universities in the country. We also normally find time to send people abroad for studies. We've not had emphasis on the area of the sciences. Vandala Patrick myself went to school, we go waste our time, we go study public administration. They go back to the country, people looking for engineers, they're looking for people in the area of technology, they're looking for mathematicians. We short on those, very short on those. The sociologists are many, the accounting people, when graduation taking place in all the schools, those are the people that take the highest number. So all the engagement the president has been doing, coming abroad, something that some people criticize, we have engaged earlier this group called Nicotech. And Nicotech invests heavily in helping countries to train people in the STEM programs. STEM means science, engineering, technology, and math, right? You want to train people in those areas. So what were they able to do?
So it's a science, technology, engineering, and math, right? Okay.
Yeah, correct. So what were they able to do? They formed a 25 million non-collateral loan. What is the loan going to do? Recruit students, they come into America, train them in the different disciplines under the STEM program. It's 2 years to get a master's degree. After the 2 years, what the program requires is that those students will stay in America and enroll in a practical program that will allow them to work for 3 years. Meaning the whole process is a 5-year process. 2 years in the classroom, they give you a degree in engineering, in something that has to do with technology, in something that has to do with mathematics, and then after the 3 additional years of working in the US, the goal is you must return home. And the Americans are laying emphasis on that we got to ensure that when the people have their capacity built in this way, they will go back home. So the first set of the people to benefit will be 250 Liberians. When they send them, the school fee is paid. Their living expense, as they call it, what the school in America for that 2 years is paid for. And then as they get enrolled in the job aspect of it, they will make between 60 to 100,000 per annum. At that point, it is a Zoom. You should be able to take care of yourself. You will not be getting additional payments. But in the end, we've trained these numbers of people in the STEM area. That's what was launched today. Money available because the non-collateral loan is already granted. So it is an intentional and deliberate investment in the sciences, since many of us maybe enjoying the political landscape, want to be doing political science, sociology, and all these things. Something is intentionally targeted at encouraging young Liberians into the science area, because these are all sciences, whether it's engineering, whether they are all sciences, because the country needs that the most. The whole world is getting technological. We've been behind. We're not training people to step up to that challenge. The country is backward.
So who's paying on this loan, Jeremy?
So it would be the country. But yeah, it's a good thing. From JJ Rawat time, we've been taking loan. We say we're bidding road. We're doing it.
Which country?
Huh?
Which country will be paying back the loan?
The country that will pay the loan?
Yes, sir.
The loan has been given to Liberia. It will be our obligation to pay.
Okay, so because it's very important that we ask. Hold on, we'll go there because I think it's a good program. Yeah. But the catch here is, let's talk about the money, and the money is in. That's what the devil is, and that's why our brother, how you call him, the one you took from us, that will be working for you in France. His name is Fadiga. That's
I
why he
told somebody,
always used to
I
say,
told somebody from you.
yeah, you took Fadiga from us. That's why he used to say the devil is in the details. So let's talk about the money, and then we'll go to Dr. Richardson, Abatuba, and the rest of the guys. How much is the money? And this money will be on Liberia to pay back. So how much is the money again?
25 million.
25 million.
Yeah.
All right. And I just want us to register. We're talking, it's a good thing, it's education. The students are 250, you said? 250.
There'll be additional ones, but that's the first batch.
There'll be additional what?
There'll be additional beneficiary, but that's the first batch.
250.
Yes, sir.
And the loan that bureau will be having will be 25 million.
25 million. Correct.
Dr. Richardson, let's get to it, man.
On the surface, the program sounds like an excellent program, something that would benefit any country. In the stipulation, is there anything that require this batch of students to return and contribute to Liberia for a certain amount of time? And also, why? I mean, there's other basic needs like carpentry, plumbing, electricity, and all of those things that would take less time for them to complete and don't have to work in the United States and return back home. Because I can tell you, a degree in STEM is very attractive even in this country. The possibility of those students going home and a company not taking them from Liberia and giving them all the papers is very high. Let me just put that out there.
So, but the truth is, the places where they were studied, they already lay emphasis on the fact that.
Oh, something happened. I'm not hearing you. It's frozen.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
That's the internet. Damo, can you hear us? All right. Then give them a few seconds and he will be back. I think it's a good program, like you said. Adopt after 5 years, and one of the students will return. If you finish, like Mr. Eduardo, he making $210,000 a year. And if you get an offer like Mr. Eduardo, how will you want to go back to Liberia? But
I guess only important to say, Senator, about that thing. I hope he gets to me when he gets back.
Yeah, the internet is.
I believe that program is going to hurt Liberia heavily. But then you come back with something.
Yeah, everybody will have their own to say. They are reconnecting now. I see them reconnecting, so you will come back. But guys, let's try to save time. One question each that we can go to the House of Representatives. They are suing each other. They called Thomas Farah for investigation. Thomas Farah called them for investigation. Now you have time to be your child's play. So I hope we can have the time to discuss it. Again, I know we don't have enough time, but Jerry, I want to talk about the yellow machine, where we are. The yellow machine story been quiet for a while. What's the last funding on it? We saw that folks went to South Africa. They came back from $84 million is now under 20 million. So the negotiation is in the interest of Liberia. And who's handling the negotiation? We need to ask your limit here. And the road condition while we enter the dry season is very, very also interesting. So guys, bear with us. The minister will be back. He is coming back. And then we'll continue with the show. Please share the show. And please, your comment is very, very important. We'd love to have your comment. And then that we all can proceed accordingly. Know that the time have changed. So our show will be running a little bit late. 8:30 will be the new time in Liberia. Please, please, please rest assured that we will have show every single day. I can see Jeremy Pierre in the back. The minister, he take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to Grand Bassa County. Like I said, he's trying to run. So he preparing and he laying the groundwork. Oh, yeah, he come. Don't tell him I said that, please. Let me bring in Dama, are you with us? Can you come up for us to hear the minister? Please do not tell him I said that. Please, Dr. Bopler, don't tell him. Mr. Minister, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah, so we went off on this end. But so what I was saying is that special emphasis is being laid on the fact that this is an investment in the country. They don't intend to see people who will benefit from this program. 2 years, you get a master's degree, you got an additional 3 years of real work experience, and then all of a sudden you hang. And the country does not benefit. So part of the arrangement will be making transitioning to be almost impossible. Meaning, if you choose not to come back, because everybody's name will be there, the system will capture you, and all of a sudden you feel benefiting, you won't go back and say, "I am America, I'm going back, I'm going to do a readjustment status and remain here." It will not work. You get frustrated, you have to jump out because you got to come back. It's a goal of the investment. Don't forget, Stanton, I'm saying it's a loan. So it is an obligation on us. And I believe, for me, I believe it's one of the best loans ever. Look at all the debt the country
Can you
owes.
send us the company information again, the institution? Can you send us something that we can show our audience, please? We're backing you because when you say loan, it is
But
from.
your boy is so smart. He published the information. You see it on your page, home page.
Okay, Damo, can you put it up, please? Because what they do in my brother, nothing. Damo, can you put it up? And what? Yeah, Damo, please. Can you put it up? And also, we need to just understand. Just give the guys a chance to ask the question. Is it totally based in Canada or America, or both places?
All right, so I think what he put I saw just America, but I know I was talking to the foreign minister today after the launch, and she mentioned 2 countries. She said America and Canada. So I guess it's those 2 places.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Buple. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
not Dr. Buple. Abba, Dr. Buple, hold on. Let's go in order, please, sir. Abba, you come in with your one question, please. Azekba? The internet is Azekba, look like.
Maybe you're regrouping.
Yeah. All right. So let me bring in Dr. Buple. Dr. Buple, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I had a clarification and I want to ask the minister a question. So,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Minister, did I hear you say that, and by the way, the STEM programs are a great program, but did I hear you say that each participant will be, after their study, $100,000? You said something to that effect. Can you clarify what you're really saying?
So what I was saying is that according to the program's plan, after your 2 years of study where you awarded your master's degree, the second phase of the program is that you will find a job, whether it's in America, in Canada, to work. When you are working, your salary per annum will be between 60 to 100,000. Meaning it could be 60,000, it could be 65,000, it could be 70,000, but in between those figures.
Who will pay the salary?
The places they will be employed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, sir. The places they will be employed.
So there is a experience-based component.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And that's part of the agreement. That's not part of our $25 million. It's not extended.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And there'll be strong commitment, letters, whatever covenant signed with these persons that after you study and you do your thing, you will come back home to your country.
Yeah, you gotta go back home.
All right, thank you.
But there's another caveat which they're telling us already, and we gotta work on it. Because it's one thing to tell the people, say, after all that experience, come back home. And it's another thing to come back home, you don't have work for them to do.
Right.
So it's a double-edged kind of situation that as a government, we gotta be focused on not just wanting them to come home.
Right.
To ensure that they are useful when they come.
But we think that when you make that kind of human capital investment to that extent, you're prepared to absorb them so that they can use the skill to help the government.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Buble. Abba, are you with us now?
I was before, but anyway, Minister,
you stayed there. You stayed there.
talking about this is kind of like a Diaspora program. We have discussed, in different circles, some alternatives to those kind of training, right? Where as opposed to, that 250, maybe, 2,500 who have been trained remotely into a program that can, offer those kind of alternative studies. Is there any thought on that in terms of, letting the money have longer legs than just the 250 and the risk of adaptation after those first 2 years and then a subsequent 3 years is typically high. Then to reverse that person's adjustment after 5 years in a foreign country, and you're talking about earning from 50,000 to 100,000, and probably for some of them who would be excellent, because trust me, I have confidence in the academic ability of librarians. When they get opportunity, they will excel. Then for them to come back now to probably a lower adjusted salary, or probably being misplaced in terms of where the professional career is going, sometimes it's very tough. Are all those things thought out?
So yes, you see, this is just an opportunity in its own cycle, right? The program has been benefiting a number of countries in Africa. We haven't benefited before. It's our first time. They got their own conditionality attached. And everything I said to you is a result of the condition they set for. Is it also a good thing that you can have other sources of revenue to do something like what you're talking about that can be done on a large scale? Yes, but it will not be fitted into this program, because everything about this program is like almost cast in stone. And if you are a beneficiary, you got to go by the structure that they put in place, because that's what they go for. You know, and because they're not just providing you training. You know, these sciences are not things that you can easily master doing virtual learning. That's what they insist, that you must be in the classroom. It must be for 2 years, the solid learning process. They grant you your master degree. Then they put you through this rigorous practical stuff of working, so that you are not just out of the classroom for 2 years of a master program. You move into the practicality, and then it makes you a wholesome person in those technological and scientific areas. Before you say, okay, go back to your country, because the goal is to build a capacity that does not exist in your country. But like I said, the caveat I was saying, and it's fair to do so, because look at the time frame of their study. If they went in that 5-year period, you could have a new administration. Will the administration be committed to ensuring
that's true. I like the idea, and it costs us only 20,000 per person for that 5 years. So that's good.
Correct.
So the name is Nekotech, Nicotech.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna upload it for folks to see. Let's get our brother from Della Patrick, Mr. Dualu, and Paul Kennedy on this Nicotech. And actually, who brought it in the country? Where are they from? Are you really informed? I mean, it seems to be that you're not part of it holistically, Jeremy Pierre.
So this was something spearheaded by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Education. It is something that has been worked on for a couple of months, trying to qualify us for, to benefit and to get enrolled. And what took place today, the guys who are the source of the funding were part of the launching. I said that they were there virtually. So they were on screen, they made their remarks, they gave some in-depth information about the program. You know, they provided all of the information. The president was there. His work was just to formally launch it, which he did. All of the technical details and information that were required by the program was given by the Nicotech people. They were doing it virtually. They were online. So yes, probably if we need much deeper conversation around it, maybe one of these days I can ensure that the education minister, for example, appear here or any other place to talk deep, because they are the it's about education. But because it also earlier required foreign engagement, and that's where the collaboration of the two entities, foreign affairs and education, but the main player being the Honorable or Her Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. She really put in the time, she worked, she did all the international engagement.
Yeah, we're going to reach out to Sarah on this one, Mr. Beslow, because again, like I said, I don't want us to jam you, but let allow for Della Patrick, Mr. Eduardo, and Paul to bring in the question.
Yeah, so Stanton, I sincerely disagree with this loan. It's going to benefit. There's no guarantee that those that will benefit, they go abroad, they will come back. Statistics are proving that even people who are not even getting loan, They leave from here to go to Ghana or America. They don't come back. One more about taking a Liberian who was born, experienced poverty, living in poverty, goes to America, goes to Canada, and they have an opportunity to live there, and you want to bring them back? This is fake. This is not going to work. I can guarantee you, if you take 250,000 students from here, or 250 students, you carry them abroad where they see America and Europe like heaven, and while they are there on internship and the country is corrupt, every day they're hearing news of police eating chicken and they're fighting, they're breaking their heads, and government officials are looting state resources, and the economy is high. Stand on, sit down and ask this minister. Nobody will be willing to come back. This thing is going to fail. This is DOA, there on arrival. We will have expected that this $250 million will be used to invest in our economy. Get some of the
200 what? 200 and what?
25 million.
25 million. Get some of the best experts to Europe, America, and that of Canada, where these people will go. Modernize our laboratories, the STEM program. You know why it will benefit? If you bring 2 persons to teach, almost about 100 persons will benefit. And at the end of the day, you get ECOWAS, you get African Union. We must model our teaching program to our culture and tradition. I went to school in the US. Many of the things I learned in the US, I'm not utilizing it yet. Do we want our people to come here and be confused? This loan is a flop. It's a shame on this government. And that's why I always say this is a rascal mission. They only came here to steal. When they take 250 students from here, none of them will come. That's why the US embassy states that many Liberians that leave to go in the United States, they don't come. That's why many of you don't have visa. Some are auto breaks to learn abroad and come back. Even as you come back, people are resisting us because of what we have. We have a culture here. Look, Mr. Minister, with all due respect, I know you are a good man. I know you. But you work in a system that is corrupt, that is not thinking. So you are paying for sin that you did not commit. I'd like to rest here.
I think we'll give the minister a chance to respond and we'll go to Mr. Duarte.
So you see, that's part of Liberia's problem. Vendela Patrick went to Harvard. He went back to Liberia, he didn't run away. His colleagues will be given the opportunity to also come in that same space of America, not necessarily Harvard like he did. He's already condemning them before they can even start. This is the country's problem. We want to shine. When the opportunity comes for others to shine, we push them down in the name of politics. All he said about rascal mission, this mission, that mission, just the same political rhetoric that is so detached from what we're discussing here. You have not invested anywhere in STEM education as a country. For the first time in the history of the country, you have a foreign minister, agile, outreaching, working tirelessly, bringing a program that should benefit young Liberians that you people you say you cared about, who are not going to Harvard, but they will come to some of the best scientific schools to be trained in something that be more relevant than what you myself learn at Harvard Public Administration. You casting them down. You spoke the way you spoke. Yes, it's your right. You're entitled to it. That's why you think it is your thought process versus what we will do. We are very confident about what is being pursued. We think it will succeed. And that's what I said, you're not listening. You come into people's country. You say you run away. They've raised those concerns, therefore we're working with them. So much so that when you intend to run away, you will fight that you can say you are splinter tire, you will try tire, you will not get adjustment. What would be the use of you remaining there? The only option you will have is to come to where you were trained for. So yes, you talk loans. Look at when we had the debt waiver process during the HIPAA process. $4 billion you were indebted to. You look across your country, you saw anything across that country, are looking at $4 billion debt that was invested in that country, and somebody want to directly invest in the people, some of whom are not benefited from anything before. And what you do is an attempt to shut it down and call it an act of criminality. That's what we do. But we believe in what we're going into. All right? We believe it will work. we believe it will benefit the country, then that party will not be the only have a man. Other people will be trained in STEM, they'll be educated, they'll be smart,
Thank you.
they will impact the country.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman Pierre, Mr. Duadu, and then Paul Kennedy.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Welcome to the audience. We late these days. Honorable PR, thank you so much for coming. This is a different perspective, and I hope you take it with a grain of salt. Don't see it as a criticism. This is empirical. Almost 20 years ago, when I was leaving graduate school, we had my master's thesis was on quality control in Japan. The Japanese done that. This is empirical, by the way. A lot of countries that are very poor, when they send their people abroad, we've tried this in the 1960s in Liberia. We tried in the 1970s and 1980s. People did not return. The Japanese realized in the 1920s they were really struggling to regroup their country. There's something in Japan today called the Demings Award. It was actually William Edward Demings, the Demings Award, Quality Control in Japan. And there's a book out there called The Economic Development, the History of Economic Development in Japan. What the Japanese did was they sent some students to America to begin with in the 1920s. And they realized they were spending so much money to educate one student to become a doctor in America. And most of these doctors did not really return. So the Japanese reversed course. They came to American universities and said, listen, Dr. Brobler, you are making $100,000 at American University teaching economics. They brought them to a Japanese university. They brought the infrastructure to a Japanese university. So instead of Dr. Brobler getting a PhD in America, one PhD, they brought 2 PhDs from America, and they provided 10 PhDs in Liberia, and they built the infrastructure locally. So what the Japanese started doing, they started reverse engineering the camera system. In fact, in the 1970s, most of the Japanese were considered junk as we think about the Chinese today. Gradually, the Demings Award, because they reversed the professorship, they did not send the students abroad. They brought the professors to Liberia. So if you took one professor from America, you give him $250,000, he will be willing to come to Liberia and train 10 pediatricians instead of you training 1 pediatrician in America. Why aren't we adopting that approach? Well, we're adopting something that we know we're in it with all certainty that it's going to fail. And it's failed before, it's failed continuously. Yeah, we're doing the same thing, Honorable Minister.
So your perspectives are respected, and I like the dignified way you said it. You didn't call anybody criminal because they're doing something you disagree with. You didn't call people rascal days. Not the normal political noise and political jargon that must be part of every discussion. So I respect your perspective, and I'm not sure I have any argument about it. This was an initiative, undertaking, led by the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the Minister of Education. They have done all their own studies, their own assessment. They proposed to the administration that this was something that was doable, and we've reached the level we've reached. We have failed because of the analysis you gave that others failed. I don't know. Do I disagree with you that we should have done it the other way around, bring professor in and do? Not necessarily, but this is where we are, and we want to move in the way with optimism, with some level of confidence that it can be different. I mean, until you try something, you instead of using just things of the past and say because this thing didn't work in this place or it was done in the past, it didn't work, therefore it can't work at all. I think we want to just shy away from that perspective, even respecting those opinions of yours as we move on. But having said that, quickly, Stanton, I beg you, I want you to just take note. I've always told you where I live is after 11. I got to, before I reach, it'll be after one.
You got one more person to ask you.
You play fun, boy. Walk on by.
The man scared.
Minister Pierre, nothing happened to you. You know Manuela in and out. Don't fool her yet. In the night when you change that white shirt to a black shirt, you.
And you got police.
I will have to be at the national Thanksgiving service tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're gonna just take Paul Kennedy again.
Yeah. And my question will be really quick. President Salif sent about 10 students in the U.S. A couple of my friends were part of that. They were here in Baltimore, Maryland, actually going to school. I think the scholarship was given by Strayer University. One of the presidents there was working with Liberian government. Most of those students did not go back, right? Like the United States is not like China, where the people control your passport and run behind you to send you. I can guarantee you, when you bring me here, I say I'm not going back. Nothing absolutely you can do to me. All I need to do, you can have my passport if you want. Then I just change my address, and you never find me again. I'm not a pessimist to say what is going on, but we lost the opportunity when President Salif sent over 10 students here to sit here in Baltimore to go to school, to Strayer University online. And I think that program cost us almost $12 million. That's $12 million that could have revamped the University of Liberia, put a lot of the video, visual, educational system. I know students, I know professors here who want to come to volunteer to teach in Liberia system. But my question to you, Mr. Minister, don't you think we'll be missing on an opportunity instead of building the STEM program from the fundamental stage, which includes high schools to first degree, then just giving a master's degree holder a more managerial role in STEM instead of giving them the actually technical engineering capacity from the high school to the university on that 25 million? Because that's a debt burden that comes to the country. When we take 25 million, we're going to pay, our children going to pay, maybe even our children. So don't you think it's a missed opportunity, Mr. Minister? I mean, just from that perspective.
It's a good debt burden. I mean, we pay for $4 billion in debt. We don't see any trace of why it did for the country. So if we worry about a debt burden that goes into developing some of the young people who've been left behind consistently, who politicians have used in one political cycle after the other to push their agenda, and after that they remain what they are. If a debt burden comes about because we invested in them, it's a good debt burden. You will see them, they were trained, they have those credentials, they have the experience, as compared to looking back and they tell you, say this country was once owing $4 billion and you don't see any. You had a debt of $4 billion, and a small country that is still not connected by road or across. You can't travel to some part of the country because you're in rainy season, but yet you took debt of $4 billion that we paid. So yes, all your concerns are welcome. People got their right to be pessimistic about this kind of thing. From the government perspective, I think we are more like optimistic. We don't want to downplay it because it's an investment in the young generation, many of whom have been used and dumped, the political condoms. We can take the risk on them. If we don't get
that's the only example you have to give.
If we don't give accountability of it, is fine compared to $4 billion. You can see no trace of it in the country everywhere at Mud Road. So if it's a gamble, let's take the gamble. The gamble of investing in the young people of our country, I think it's a good gamble to undertake.
Let me say this. Let me put it up real quick. Honorable Minister, it's good having you. We are not going to hold you any further. This is Nicotech, Center of Excellence. Again, let me say this to you. I think it's something to try, but Liberians out there want to know more. So we will be reaching out to the Education Minister and the Foreign Minister, Sarah Beslow. I think, listen, you will not have it both ways 100%. You have folks that Mo Ali, Stephen Johnson, folks that the government sent out. They came back, they're in the country. But to say we have all 250 of them returning, no, it will not happen. But to try this program, and I went through this program, to try, I think it's so important for us to give it a try. Now, we can cross our T's, we can argue about its application, who would benefit, and how, and all these things are necessary. So I must applaud the president on this one, right? 25 million, they say it'll be a big money loan on the government, but 250 plus people leaving our country to go to Canada, to come to the United States and other places. Don't be so bad on your fellow Liberians. Like, you receive this education on government sweat. Give them the chance too. And those that will be willing to go back, and we encourage them to return, to give back to the country. That should be our own way to help our country. So, Mr. Minister, it's good to have you here. We saw the picture on the page, right, in Sierra Leone. Bill, he receiving $100 million from the same program.
Correct.
Okay, go on the page and check it out. Bill is receiving $100 million. So if they're trying to give us 25 million, and I will say this, It may be to be a big money on the country, but to have 250 students, let's try. But I will say this to you, through you, and for Sarah and the education minister, I think this should help us understand better and even more. Not only one press conference, they should say how the application. So we will call them. But I'm all in this program, and I'm seriously all in. We'll investigate further, but I think the ministers then should come out and make it better for us to understand. Mr. Minister, thank you for coming. Just because you're not the co-player, I will give you the last word on this one.
Thank you.
One more time, I beg you, let me ask you. Let me tell you.
So, Honorable Minister, is it too late to tweak this program? Dwalu makes an excellent point. The thing about human capital investment is that when we invest in our people and we bring back to the country and we don't have the infrastructure for them to maximize what they learn, is it too late? This is a good chunk of money. We can do piece and piece. You can send some people and then you can start investing in laboratories, because this is science, technology, engineering, math, so that we're not in the same place.
Are you hearing us, Mr. Minister? No, he's not hearing you, that player. Let's wait for him to hear us. Mr. Minister, are you hearing us? Can you put a headset on, Dama? Can you put a headset on? But while he's trying to hear us, that the ball player, I think this is a loan from that group of people. We can find another group out there that can bring the Japanese and the Chinese in the country, and But I think if you read through the program, they are only there to take your student out of the country. Go on the website and read the program.
Well,
they will not share this 25 million. No, with Nicotech, for you to say what God is saying, the people should come in your country to train your folks. With this program, it doesn't work that way. That's why I'm saying to you.
It's a loan. We can determine how it's
used. A loan. It's a loan.
So you want to control your 25 million loan.
Yeah, but some 25 million.
Vendetta. Stanton, before I leave, let me just say this. I stick to the fact.
Minister, why you mention my name?
No, I just made a mistake. I said Stanton.
Yeah, thank you. Please let me mistake.
Don't bring your have an argument here, man. Just leave that to me. Look, we quit to forget as a people. We took the scene 25 million. You're talking about Bandara fee. It would break the whole country down. You took 25 million. You say your dream up exercise. We see no here and there. 1.25 million in the people, in the young people.
You gotta go and sleep. You gotta go home.
Can I just suggest something to the minister?
But no, Stanton, let me make clarity here. It's
no, but wait, Dr. Richardson was speaking. You cannot interrupt the lady. She was speaking. I beg you, sir.
Okay, let me say, I'm sorry, Mama. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I actually had a suggestion about the appointees, and recently I know they appointed, if I'm saying her name correctly, Madeline Dokosat to the Ministry of Commerce. We were struggling in the chat room trying to find some information about her. Most places that I'm aware of work for, they will announce their appointees and tell you the history. Say this person becomes with a wealth of experience in XYZ, they will contribute to the ministry by XYZ and stuff like that. But when we do our appointees, I don't see nothing. And so I wanted to suggest. Say that again?
It's in the Zobu. You will never find it.
Oh, well, I think if we're
going to call Kula, you are quite correct. We'll call Kula for her to expand.
I don't know that Kula, the minister or whoever, but just to.
Yeah, it's Kula Fufana. She put all those nomination and appointments.
Right.
You are quite correct. But let's do this real quick, guys, because we're out of time. I want us to just squeeze in the House of Representatives back and forth document who sued who, why they suing who. I mean, are you guys not tired? Dr. Richardson? They called how you call him for investigation. They said no, we will not honor your request. Now they went back again and called, say, yeah, we will call you for investigation. Thomas Farah called and speak of Fonati Kofa for investigation. Then some of Fonati Kofa folks calling Thomas Farah for investigation. So now you told my own, I told your own, everybody just busting each other's secret. That's the richest thing. It's a whole mess now.
It sure is. And this is why from the onset, I said it's important for the Supreme Court to step in, be precise, be effective. But they are downplaying their role and saying, "Oh, we only here to, work as a branch of government. We can't interfere." When definitely there's check and balance in the system, And so if somebody does not do anything about our country, we are it's on a downfall. I can just tell you that right now, downfall. That's all I can say, and we just gotta do whatever many people believe in prayers. If that's what you believe in, do it. Hopefully, something will happen. But
yeah, you're quite correct. Let me bring you in, Vandella Patrick. They did back and forth, man. It becomes to be childish right now, and a lot of people losing. Like you were saying yesterday, passive nauseousness. Democrat were using that word, and each time one state for, they say we are passive nauseous. So now, but finally, we are not. We have thrown up, and we got what we got. So, Vandella Patrick, the issue of that place, man, they lost the investigation that have been called for by Fonati Group. Now, Thomas Father Group calling for investigation too. The Supreme Court step in and say, "Y'all take your stuff from here. We're not grant you what you asked for. You'll go back and fix it. It's rare. You'll go back to status quo and fix your situation." So where are you? And this guy is saying they're going to expel Marvin Cole. They're going to call for the investigation. If it's not honored, they're going to kick them up. Now Marvin Cole guys are also saying, "No, we'll remain in our chamber. You cannot take us out." So from there, talk to us.
So CEO, you conducted an opinion poll on this platform, and 65% of your followers on this show, that is considered one of the biggest platforms, they said the rule of law is the best way forward. For the 3 lawmakers, they got 35%. That tells you the people who listen to this show, who have followed you, and the opinions expressed by all the panelists here, they still believe that the rule of law is the best way to go. You see groups of individuals willfully and intentionally trying to undermine this president. If you are a member of the rescue mission, tonight when you go to bed, pray for JMB. If you should win election in 2029, let me tell you, 2029 election is now. What you see here, when JMB took power, we handed him 3 branches of government, very functional. There were no hulubalu. In less than 1 year, you cannot govern a country. It speaks volumes of incompetence. It speaks volumes of lack of unity. It speaks volume of disgruntled behavior on the part of individuals who are supposed to subscribe to the rule of law. What I see now, I actually limit here. Friday, this president is supposed to submit the budget. He should have submitted it, last Tuesday. Say, well, I want 1 week. What are you doing so much that you have to delay the submission of our budget? So much. What are you doing? You should have planned long time ago to be on time. When you delay in the submission of the budget, the citizens will suffer. Teachers will not take pay on time. You see the reason why people are struggling? AFL can't get paid. The other people can't get paid. Civil servant can't get paid because when the budget is delayed in its submission,
you just confirmed and said all of them got paid. Said they got paid.
No, I said 65 spending entities from my own background investigation have been processed and sent to commercial banks. But because it went late, commercial bank will have to process it to individual bank accounts. From there, then the people will start receiving.
You didn't say because it went late. Because when the minister was there, you said to get the money. All right,
no,
but go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. That was the issue. You're not bringing it up. So as I conclude, CEO, I am ashamed of my country. we are degenerating into chaos gradually. The old people say, Christian can start in clean clothes. Then later on, in daily clothes. The Christian have started. Gradually, we are going 3 weeks. No hay, no tea. Investors are skeptical. They are afraid to come and invest because when they come in this country to invest, the people who are supposed to give them that approbation, that approval to invest, they are in constitutional crisis. Who wants to bring their 20 million, 100 million, 300 million to invest where the lawmakers are supposed to sign that concession agreement? They are in serious constitutional crisis. I am sorry for my people. I want them to see reason. And this is where you, me, all the panelists, after we discuss, let's give some recommendations to the public, to our leaders, so they will listen.
Thank you for that, Patrick. And you say you're very, very ashamed, you're tired, you're frustrated, as evidenced by
the main project is Quorum.
Tama, what the main video? Tama, why you took the video off?
You want to regroup?
Tama.
Pache, where are you going, sir? Pache, where are you going? Okay, so Pache is saying he's going to regroup. Pache is going to regroup. Pache is leaving that. I'm sorry for that.
But interestingly, CEO. But our school group is called Regroup. I told the one from the people. You notice that?
I saw it.
School Regroup. So
yeah, I saw it.
And you know that you the one brought the war, right?
I saw it. But
so the speech chat room is called Spoon Regroup.
Oh man,
so
let's ask you about the accusation.
But let me move on real quick to say this. We're going to Mr. Duaru. Actually, some of the issue that Fandela is raising is concerning when you talk about the House of Representatives. The back and forth, man. I mean, the people are getting concerned. Mr. Duaru.
Hello, Stanton. And Cynthia Williams, whatever you're saying on the thread, if it is true, send me the information. I'm not going to mention the representative's name, but if somebody's sleeping with underage children, it's a serious issue. I want to say this, though, Stanton. Look, I don't want to talk about these representatives. We've spoken about them back and forth, and they continue to only focus on themselves. What I want to say here is I want to speak a little bit briefly, if you allow me my time, on the issue of those students going abroad to study. Because for me, this is pertinent to the decisions in the country. If we're going to strengthen the institutions in the country, we have to make some commitment to the very institutions that we're trying to strengthen in Liberia. It's not going to be fixed overnight. We have to localize, indigenize our expertise. There is nothing wrong with going overseas. Other countries have done it, but what they have done is Vanessa Patrick graduates with a chiropractor degree in Liberia. He comes and does a 2-3 month stunt to improve his expertise. He comes back to the country. If you're removing people out of the country, and people say, oh, you're in America, you want to go to America too. This is not the point. The point here is, if we don't strengthen locally, we are not going to grow. It's not going to work. There is no freaking way that Asif Atupa will stay in Liberia in abject poverty, and you send Dwalu to America, and Dwalu just going to leave because he's supposed to go do a patriotic duty. Turbo did this. Tubman did this. Dole done this. We've replicated this 1 million times. It has not worked. Can we try something else? This is my argument tonight. This is my argument. Cynthia, send me that information if it is true.
Paul?
Yeah, look, like Dwalu, because if this is a scholarship or an opportunity from foreign government to our country, I wouldn't say a word about it, right? But this is a loan that my children are going to have to pay back. And when I have to pay something back, or my children have to pay something back, I mean, it's only fair to ask, what benefit What is the knowledge transfer in this? The last time 2013, 30,000 students took a test. All of them failed in math and science at the University of Liberia. 30,000. And Double Jala is the one who administered that test. All of them failed. It speaks about the science foundation we have. This program is a great program. It's so good because it fills a niche of our country. It fills a fundamental area that the country needs. Science and technology. The Liberians are not doing very well in science, mathematics, engineering, and technology. So when I hear about this kind of program, I'm elated. I'm really excited that we are taking a loan for this kind of program. But could we be looking to see how we could re-engineer the program so that it benefits Liberians? And don't get me wrong, the 200 people who are coming are Liberians also, but they are taking loan that I'm going to pay back. What if they don't come back? Liberia has the lowest visa issuance rate in the world right now amongst few countries, because most of the Liberians who are coming to the US, whether they are coming as government officials or coming on visit, most of them don't return. That's the conversation the ambassadors and other people in the embassy are telling us. We're asking them, why are you denying Liberian visa? They say, but look at the rate. They are coming and not going back. Last year alone, 5,917 visas were issued. Only 113 people went back. I mean, non-immigrant B1 and B2 visas. So the issues are glaring. People would take the money and they will come and get educated, especially somebody who start making 50, 60, maybe even $100,000 here. They will comfortably just quit their job and come back to Liberia, where government will not even be able to accommodate them. So could we take the 25 million and spread it around, strengthening BWR, strengthening Tubman University in Maryland, strengthening the University of Liberia, the agriculture and science and technology programs? Could we look into going into high school like Tubman had to improve the science department there? What can be done with this 25 million is the question I'm asking, because I'd like the name that is money, but it is the money that we have to pay back. So when you see me asking the question and really trying to speak towards the CEO, don't get me wrong. I brought 6 persons to the United States. You think I don't? If I had a means, I would bring everybody from Liberia here. But don't do it at a detriment of somebody who comes and doesn't go back and have to pay that money back. When I hear your poor candidate, you don't want people to come to the U.S.
Thank you, Paul.
I don't know what you are saying.
Thank you, Paul Kennedy.
Because we have to pay this money back.
Thank you, Paul Kennedy. Like I said, I think more explanation will come up, and I will reach out to the Foreign Minister Sarah Beslow and the Education Minister, that they will be able to explain further on this. I think the start up the initial conversation is in the right direction. You know, if our children, our brothers and sisters, would benefit from this $25 million loan, I think it's a good thing. Now we can go and do all our little question and answer and make sure that it's very clear and transparent. That is necessary. But the step that this is for the Liberian people, students, to travel outside of darkness, outside of poverty, I can learn something that to me is great, it's unique. And I hope we will learn more on this thing, and the folks, Liberian students, will be able to help themselves. I've really feel the pain for the student and the way in which they are, getting their education in the country. To me, this is a great opportunity, but we need to understand better. Guys, let's close this show. It's good having you, and it's good having everybody. Tonight, I'm calling no representative because I want to go in peace. I'm not calling any representative. I think it's only necessary to allow ourselves to do our own closing. So let's hear from you, as if you go ahead. Let's close the show, my brother.
Thank you. One thing I wanted to ask the minister, and I never got the chance to, was the whole situation with the Diaspora Liberian annual return. I know the Ministry of Information is really involved in that, along with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, led by this guy from the president's office. Erasmus Williams, I think. And I think it's a wonderful thing. I think they need to highlight it a little bit more, talk about it a little bit more, because the conversation and, between Diaspora and the people on the ground, there's some tension there in terms of how they are accepted. Many people from the Diaspora feel like there's some distancing, like they're not welcome. And it would be wonderful if we can really resolve those things, some of the challenges, some of the perceptions that people have. And it goes both ways, because sometimes some of the people from the diaspora, the attitude they have towards people on the ground, it's just so disrespectful and just, condescending. And you wonder where they come from to have that kind of mindset towards fellow Liberians. But on the flip side, other people talk about insecurities. Other people talk about just giving them a run around, not wanting them to be involved because they probably come with maybe principles and where they want to do whatever stuff. So if that conversation could be broader, the discussion around it could be to the lowest level, if possible, where the grassroots people and people up at every level of our society, every stratification, can really get into those discussions so we can start to integrate. Because we can't move forward if we don't really integrate that. Ooh.
No, you're good. Thank you very much. Are you done? Thank you very much, Ava.
Just 1 second, another 10 seconds. So, I appreciate the minister coming on. The whole thing about the education thing, I think you got to do alternative analysis whenever you come and use the government money. You're using $25 million for a program. Do what other options are available that money could be more beneficial from both a qualitative and quantitative perspective for the people of Liberia. And in the absence of those, and we just focus on one thing and just do one thing without looking at other options, sometimes to our disadvantage. So hopefully they can look at other programs that could be more impactful and have more substantive, elevation of our educational system than just sending 250 or when 30, 40,000 people are just not learning anything of quality. Thank you.
Thank you, Ava. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Poplar, please.
So Stanton, to that same STEM thing, long time ago when I fled the war and started my new lease on life in Baltimore, I was a math teacher. And then I went on to Baltimore County and joined a magnet program. I was teaching computer programming. STEM has been around for a while, especially in developed countries. It's a good thing. But the power of STEM is that one, it is a whole system. It's a program that's spread across the county, or the school district. Two, there are schools across the school district that have capacity for students to do well in science, technology, engineering, math. Three, in the case of the state of West Virginia, they encourage those students from high school, and if they do well in any of those things, their tuition is paid for university if you're going to do anything in science, technology, engineering. So I really like Dwalu's point. I did see from one of my good friends in the chat that this is a quote unquote managed loan. And that might be the case. It's a managed loan. And so the loaner have requirements, fine. But if that's the case, then I think our government should now allocate X number of extra dollars to build capacity. Because what you really want those students to come back and do and be leaders of STEM program in high schools all across the country. So they have a good lab here, they have a good math program here, at least one or two schools in every single county. Then you will maximize the output because they're coming back, they have decent pay, they have good capacity to begin to train others. So STEM becomes a thing where the country not only appreciates, but it starts to put out more and more people who come out in science and technology. So I just don't want it to be a one-sided thing where the investment of 25 million is not too big. For human capital, it's not too big. That's good money spent. But if you don't have part two in place, then yes, one, either whole lot of people will stay to where they're going and not come back because they feel like, where am I going back to? You see? Or two, when they do come back, they get discouraged because they can't utilize what they've learned. So I think it's a great program. Just put the part two in place. If the loan can be restructured, fine. Get a few more dollars. Start now. County by county, county by county. There's at least 2 STEM schools in every county, high school level. Then it elevates to college. I think over time we'll see something extremely good because of what they're doing. So I applaud the government for the first step. Let's please make it a whole holistic thing so the country benefits the most.
Dr. Boblet, thank you very much. I'm going to bring in Dr. Richardson. Dr. Richardson, you want to close?
Yeah, I just want to also echo what Dr. Brooklyn said. In countries where STEM is well known and is yielding benefits, it's not just a master level thing. It starts from elementary school, even sometimes preschool. They put you on a track that you have to sort of succeed and meet certain requirements. And so that is building a foundation, like he said, and many are saying on this platform, for for students to succeed, moving forward from just going straight into a master program. And yeah, I want to agree with many who said that if you come here to this United States, where it is very much different, the amenities are different, the opportunities are different here in this country, to return would be a heck of a lot of problems, and it's not hard to do. I don't know if people are taking this into consideration. You can come here and you get married. There's nothing that stops anybody from getting married to change their status. You can come here and companies can have H visa for you if they really love you and you're doing a great work to keep you here, which is a concern that I would have. So there's so many ways in which a person can stay here and don't return to Liberia. I'm not saying that that's the right thing. I would want for people to return to Liberia and contribute, but that's just human nature. I also want to add, like, if they could also expand the program to some basic needs that are needed in our country. For example, plumbing, carpentry, mechanic. Those things, to me, I think are great needs in our country right now. They can get a few professor instructors from here to teach those things in our vocational programs in Liberia, and they'll be teaching many people, and it's not hard. It's a 1-2 year program, and at least that'll make our country, because I know there's a deficit. I see how things are built in our country. There's a deficit in those areas. So I don't know who's going to be on the STEM program, but I think it will be worthwhile for the Minister of Education or Information to come here and give the Liberian people, if you decide to go with this, information about the program. That's another thing. A lot of people say, we don't know anything. We don't know how to apply. We don't know where to go to this program. Let this program not be kept top secret. Like I think my brother Fandela Patrick said, send a bushwhack on it. Certain people need to see it. And again, like, give us pros and cons. Tell us what you have explored. Say, like Abba said, what have been your analysis on these kind of programs? We're spending, 250 million, if I heard you right, on this program. And what happened out your analysis?
It's 25 million. 25.
Yes, 25. That's still a lot of money in my cup of tea, in my world. $25 million. What has been your analysis? Tell the Liberian people, say we researched this, we did this, and we found that this is so, this is what making us to go to this direction. But we're not hearing everything. We just saying, oh, take 25 million, pay for it, and that's what we have decided. That's what we found. Sierra Leone doing the same thing. Hey, the culture in Sierra Leone is so much different. Liberian people, the way we think, our mentality and what we need in our country is different. The war affected us differently. So we have to take the mentality and the culture of Liberia into consideration when we approach these programs. Yes, Nicotech will want $25 million. What company wouldn't want $25 million right now? It's good for them. How is it good for our country is all I'm asking. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Richardson. Thank you very much. Vandela, you want to close?
Yeah, CEO, let me start by saying, I think the government needs to go right back and regroup and come back. But this $25 million loan is a flop. It's a disgrace. They should be ashamed. Whoever proposed this idea should be ashamed. In fact, we should not be talking about $25 million loan. On this platform, I have proposed, bring some of the best minds around the president, they can easily raise $50 million. I can guarantee you. I know Liberians, when you set up the system, bring like-minded individuals. Let me tell you, wealth is in the mind, not the physical catch. Open the doors. Some of the best minds, you don't have to like them. But because they can contribute to Liberia, bring them on board. I know they will raise not less than 50 million rather than subjecting the country to debt. You can raise that money. Somebody is talking. Let me just clarify. I did not go to Harvard because government sent me. I went there as a son of a rubber tapper. I took entrance. I sat interviews, my credentials, and I was accepted. 90% of people who went to that institution, they depleted state cover to go there. Scholarship is meant for scholars, not buffoons. Many of them that went, 90%, government officials, they don't disclose. This 250 person you're talking about is stay in Zobuch. I am concerned about the recruitment process. One minister will call people my entity, especially you talk about Europe, America, and Canada, who doesn't want to go to good schools? The poor people, children will not benefit. I am a living testimony. I used to work with the National Investment Commission. Opportunity came, I presented my credentials and everything. They put me behind the bar. They sent somebody whose credentials were not up to the task. They rejected them. I know what I'm talking. Hey, some of you think maybe my presentation is brutal, but I say it this way so it can get in your soul that next time when you come to talk about public policy, nobody can teach me anything about public policy. As I conclude, CEO, it will benefit us to improve. Look at Sinje, the technical school that there. Spend $5 million, upgrade, build boarding school. Build some modern horses. Take about 10 instructors. They get public-private partnership, governmental, intergovernmental partnerships. Plead with the United States government to send you some of your best professors. All you need to do, get them lodging and vehicles. 3 professors can train about 50 Liberians, and they will benefit. Lastly, a project was launched, I think, 2007. They call it the Ministry of Finance Financial Management Program. I sat that entry and I failed. They selected some of my friends. That project went successfully. It was held by the former Deputy Minister for Administration, Ekon Tingba. Many of those who graduated from that program, they are now controllers or financial experts in many of the ministries and agencies of government. The President Young Professional Program is a typical example. They invested so much in training some of the brilliant young men and women in this country. Today, they are holding top positions. Why can't we invest 250 million here? You want to take people from here, you go when they land.
25 million. 25 million.
25 million. And when they land, when they come here, they don't have computer in the ministry or agency. No electricity. And you underpay them. You expect them to come, they will.
Thank you, Brother Patrick.
Thank
you, Mr. Dwadu.
All the team one time back. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it on the path of Dr. Grople, and I'm going to continue. He said it so succinctly, and I'm going to continue on that path. But I will leave you with a story. In 1994, when Rwanda came out of the civil war, they had less than 19% of the faculty at the state-run university, the National University of Rwanda. What they did was they said, listen, we have to rebuild the university. They wanted a quality university. They went to counterparts across the globe. The first thing Kigami did was he built a facility that could house first world professors that was coming from Europe, that were coming from America to come down. He partnered with his university. Dr. Broper would come into the country for one semester and teach economics at the university. He alternates. He goes around. He rebuilt the infrastructure that way. Now, the quality of Rwanda University now is almost comparable to most around the globe because he made a targeted decision to build that university. We have to be intentional about how we do the institutions in Liberia. Look, the education that we've gotten A lot of people pay for it. My father, I will always worship the man. He paid a lot of money. Not one day I'll ever out of school. How can we transfer that knowledge? It's something we have not done to our people. Look, there's nothing wrong with coming to on this side. Instead, I want to make a point that you made, and you said some people went back. That is true. Most people that go back to Liberia, they go with an exception. I will come back if I'm deputy minister. I will come back if I'm controller. They don't just come back for coming back sick. It doesn't mean, look, Vendetta goes back to Liberia. It's an exception to the rule, but this is not common. The models are out there. We can study the models. It's been tested like the National University of Kigali. It's been tested in Kenya. It's been tested by Ghanaian universities. So they are teaming you. Even if you cannot get Westerners initially, you can come and target Liberian professors, African professors here in this country. If you build a facility that is comparable to a first world level, and you put them there with the proper air conditioning and everything, they are willing to come. It's another way to promote the tourism industry. If you take a European that comes to Liberia for 6 months, his wife will come there. Maybe the sister won't visit her wife. Small, they start seeing Liberia. This is a better approach for me. It's a better approach.
Let me ask a question while we close the program. Eduardo, is this program a bad program, or you need more clarity?
It's not a bad program. Here's the thing about me. The program has been done for almost 40 years in Liberia. This very program.
Now, I'm talking about the Nicotech program. You think you see it investing?
It doesn't matter the name you call it. The name is not the problem. Look, Vendetta, I think of Vendetta or that the program mentioned. How is the selection going to be made? Are we going to find our best and better minds, great high school kids?
So those are the questions I think the ministers, foreign minister, education minister will have to come and talk about. Those are the great ideas that if we all come together and contribute and ask this hard question, then they can tweak.
We got historical record though. We got record.
Yeah, but
the more how it's been done before.
Yeah, but the record shouldn't deter us from trying again.
But we know we're coming from somewhere. Okay, let me just give you an example. If okay, I'm not going to use that analogy because then we'll spin it over. If I can steal, every day I'm stealing, I'm a shoplifter. You want maybe your cashier in your shop? The point I'm trying to make, I'm not saying people steal you, but the program has always been designed where Duadu minister. First of all, my sister coming on our program. My cousin's coming on our program.
Yeah, so Duadu, it's just an introduction right now of the program. All right. So the formality as to who will be on the program, who it will be awarded to, the amount of money, how it will pay back. Maybe we have to go in. The minister just introduced the program, Sarah Baslow. And so I want to say to all Liberians out there, again, I'll reach out to the foreign minister for her to come and answer even more questions to this. It's only fair that we give the government a chance. Now they have introduced this program, and that will consider all of your concern, which will help our fellow Liberians, moving with their own understanding. I said, listen, maybe this program is not that all bad. Maybe the suggestion of Duadu to spend 50% of the 25 million and keep 50% in the country to bring in people, maybe it will help. But I'm reading through this program from Sierra Leone. $100 million were given to Sierra Leone. We just talking about 25 mil. 100 were given to Sierra Leone. The students from Sierra Leone in Canada, in the Americas, and whether they will go back, we got to pray and say, help us, oh God, please go back to your country. 250 students. I mean, let's invite the ministers and give them the chance to answer some questions and help our fellow Liberians.
I think that's a good idea, Stanton. Let's get the whole picture. I agree.
Yeah, I'm not in a position yet to beat on Sarah or to beat on, what's the education minister name?
Jala.
No, it's not you, Duadu. I'm just saying it's not you. I'm seeing people, they want to know more. So it's a good thing letting people know more about this. But again, overall, I think we should try other avenue, and I must give it to this administration, President Bwaka even, for listening and giving them the chance and saying, you know what, you work it out. Let's see some Liberians here in America going to school. And when that time comes, we got ask and say, listen, you can't go back. And listen, Mo Ali went back. Nobody forced Mo Ali. Mo Ali went back. And like you said,
I think the issue is not just coming back. Let's assume all 250 come back. Is what are you coming back to? The capacity building on this side Meaning
Yes.
at home. That's what I hear Dwalo say. I totally
Yeah,
agree.
you are quite correct. As though you will leave the 60,000.
CEO Mo Ali came back because he was working in government. He had to come back. Ordinary man who does not have anything, when they go there, they will never come back because there's no guarantee they will
Okay,
have a job.
so again, it cannot stop us from helping our fellow Liberians because we are afraid that they will not come back. We pray
No,
that
that's not the
we
issue.
pray,
No,
but let me finish now, brother Fandela, please. We pray that they come back. We put Fandela, you will speak. My brother, you will speak.
You
My
said the
argument
other day,
is
you say shut down the show, and you shut all down.
no, I will not
So,
shut down the show today. I will not shut down the show today. You will speak. Do not be afraid. Yeah, but that's the problem. My thing is that not because they will not come back, we shouldn't keep on trying. Let's try. Let's encourage them. Let's create incentive that will bring them back. Okay, that's what the president is trying now to say: bring more jobs in the country, bring more investors in the country. That after 4 years, 5 years, we have 250 students out there thinking about coming back to the country. And when they look in the country, good electricity, good healthcare system, good education system, investment coming to the country, they will want to come back. But it shouldn't stop us from investing into the young minds. It shouldn't stop us from this great opportunity. And whether the government will pay about $25 million, hell yeah, we'll worry about that. But when we have 250 outside of the country hustling, they will be able to help also one way or the other. But I think it was a good program. Fandela, let me give you back the time because before you say it, I cut you off.
I want this to be very clear. We're not against Liberian. I know a lot of Liberians. CEO, when I go to Cottington, I go to UL, people are graduating, magna cum laude, summa cum laude. They're doing their universities and colleges. No opportunities. This country is built on court. Who knows you? Somebody bring in mind. Imagine in the ministry and agency, let other ministry send 3% to America on scholarship. Scholarship is for scholars, not for buffoons. Many of those who benefit from these programs are...
Yeah, but you're trying to discriminate here. Send a buffon,
No,
maybe they will turn
I'm
to be a
telling you
scholar.
what I know that what happened.
Send a buffon, maybe they will turn to be a scholar. You cannot discriminate and call them buffon.
No, hey, if it is meant for scholarship, after say in the ministry or agency, people apply, set up an independent, recruitment process, Ministry of Education, maybe National Commission on Higher Education to recruit. But when the information comes to say we want to take 5% to send them abroad for studies, they don't disseminate the information. They apply, they get accepted, they go. While they are there learning, they are getting paid. When they come back, they elevate themselves. 90% of these people who went abroad for studies, they spend government resources at the detriment of the poor. I know. So
I understand. I understand. Thank you, Vandetta. Thanks to all, but I do understand that your concerns are very, very important. Let's put the mechanism in place that would bring them back. But because most of them will stay out of the country and we shouldn't help the one that need it, and ready desire to help, I will go against that and say, let's give it a try again. It's not all over. And create an avenue that the popular said that they will return to the country one good day and be a blessing to the nation. 25 million on the STEM program, bringing them to Canada, 250 of them, and to the Americas is great. It's unique. It's better. We're going to be having good doctors, nurses, engineers. Let's try to invest in those things. $25 million, I mean, for Liberia, I don't think it's a big of a money. But let's talk to this minister. Let's talk to Sarah Best-Loyanti. Let's talk to Dr. Jala and see how well they can explain this better. But this is a unique program and it's good for this government. It's good for the people of Liberia. And we all should applaud it and then work along with this great mind to make it better. So I think everybody at the end are welcome and we will again strengthen and ask the hard question and bring those ministers to explain. So guys, thank you very much for joining us. Nelson, come on the show. Abatoba, thank you. Fandela Patrick, my own friend Paul Kennedy, Dr. Pople, Dr. Richardson is gone. I want to say thanks to all of you. A great show today. Join us again tomorrow. We'll talk legislative matter and we'll dive deeper into the way forward. As of today, Fonati Kofa said he's not resigning. He's not there yet. And he have other legal options to follow. We don't know what it may be, but we'll wait tomorrow and see. To all of you, we say thank you. May God bless your Wednesday. Thanks to Jeremy Pierre, the information minister, who always making his time to come and explain. We want to say, drive home safe, Mr. Minister, and Godspeed to you. Thanks to Augustin Kweye Gafwan, who sent text messages in. And one day we'll have the finance minister to come and explain in simple terms for the people to hear about the bread and butter issue. Again, we'll talk about the appointment of the commerce minister, Magdalene Dakose. I've been hearing good things about her, and we will invite her someday to come and speak to Spoon. Again, we wish her well through her confirmation hearing. We would be telling you, man, let's try new things, and let's just applaud when it is only right by this government to do the best thing for her people. You know, let's criticize when necessary, but we shouldn't criticize in craziness. Again, for Dada Patrick, it's always good to have you. Thank you very much for bringing up the fire. To my brother Paul Kennedy, thank you very much as well. Have a good night, gentlemen, and may the Lord bless you. Till we meet again tomorrow.
Thank you very much. If he's not calling me his friend, if he's not calling me his friend, he's calling me his brother. That, you know, Stanton has a problem. I'm either his friend or his brother. Vandela.
Either or is still good.
Yeah, Vandela.
Stanton is not a good man. I doubt whether on the day of judgment, whether you'll make it heaven.
Well, I'm not here to judge him. I'm not going to judge him.
No, me, I'm judging him.
Will all his sins, he's still my friend. I don't choose friends because you are a perfect person. I choose
we
you.
We all have sinned. We all have sinned. And fall short. We all have sinned, and we fall short at the glory of God. But the wages of sin is death, and the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ. So I'll be the first one to say, Lord, I am a sinner, have mercy upon me. And see me through your heavenly gate.
Nothing, Kola. Good evening.
Mandela Patrick, you will not make it as evidenced by what we saw the last time.
Yeah, man.
I'm going to come out.
They're not going to regroup.
Mandela, you are running away from the sun. You are running away from the women. You are running away from everybody. You are running away from Mandela.
He got loving eye, but he make it.
But no way. CEO, on the flip side, I think they generally were just deployed to see the slightest mistake. And I was very careful. Imagine somebody had come to beat me and I would wear head or scatter. You know what will happen? But I'm going to regroup. I'm coming back tomorrow. God bless you.
God bless you, my brother. Have a good night.
All right. Okay, gentlemen.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much. Nelson, the man, he tried, Nelson. He tried.
He went to regroup. He's still regrouping.
Look at him. Just look at him. He was tired. I mean, he was let down. He was tired, Nelson. I felt for him. And I called him and I told Triple I said, can you give Vandela some water to drink? And the coconut water ran out. It was rough. But at least he tried. It's always about trying. That's it. Thank you very much and have a good evening. Good night, Nelson. Thank you to all of you guys for the great sacrifices you guys are making. Thanks a lot. Good night, folks.
Thank you as well. Yes. Well, folks, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate everyone. Thanks for your participation on the show tonight. Thanks to all of you who called in. Thanks to our many followers across the world who have been watching the program. Thanks to you in Radio Lane as well. As you know, we are always...
I'm sorry. I have to come back. I'm so sorry. I have to announce this birthday because, you know, when we're on the show, Nelson, it's just plenty thing. I want to announce the birthday of the Councilor Jerome, right there.
Oh,
Today
wow.
is his birthday. Yeah, this is from his sweetheart. Seriously, I was about to just go Kafina Williams, but yeah, she's saying happy birthday to her sweetheart Counselor Jerome. That everybody should know and everybody should understand that she love her husband the best and she wishing him all the best in this birthday. So to you, Counselor, this is from your wife, your sweetheart, and, and she want me to play this song. I don't know whether this song have copyright, but I
Copyright.
hope it got copyright.
Yeah.
You listen to it?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let me play a little bit of it.
Yeah, it's happy for us.
Yeah, so we have the copyright to that. I don't want Facebook to go after us. But again, I like to say to you from your wife counselor, you consider Jerome, happy birthday to you. This is from your wife, Kafina Williams Verdia. We want to say again, a special time. A great man, a good man, a wonderful counselor. That all he does, he think about Liberia. He loved Liberia. He dreamed about Liberia. And he prayed for the better Liberia. So I want to say happy birthday from the Spoon family, from everyone else. We say happy birthday to you, Counselor Jerome. We wish you well. We wish you Godspeed. We wish you success. Your wife, your children, your grandchildren, they're all saying happy birthday to you. I want to put your picture up, but I don't know. I think she told me not to. Or maybe her picture or not picture, but you got his picture? We have to put something. Let people see the great counselor and let's just celebrate him today. Again, Counselor Jerome, happy birthday. How do you call it? The TRC counselor. Yeah,
Yeah.
the TRC counselor.
Chairperson TRC. And they
TRC
started
counselor. Yeah, he
process.
was the chairperson. Again, it's just he's just a great man. And we say counselor.
And see, he's also the executive director of the International Justice Group.
Yeah, he also the executive director of the International Justice Group. That's correct. And now I'm concerned about Donald Trump coming into power. You got the Chris Smith working with Councilor Jerome Verdier. You got the Allen White. They're all working together. What else to discuss that? But something is about to happen. And I have to reach out to Councilor Verdier. But that's his birthday. I'm going to let him enjoy his birthday. On his birthday, you know what happened, Nelson? His wife told him to take the car to the garage. On his birthday, he doing mechanic job. Yeah. On his birthday, the great counselor can sit at home. He's doing mechanic job. He's on the car, changing the car tire. Yet and still, it's not my business. But when I saw it, there you go. Happy birthday, Councilor Jerome. And I think his brother James were there also wishing him happy birthday also. Councilor James Radia is wishing his brother, Councilor Jerome. Want to say Godspeed to you. Have a wonderful, enjoy it. I heard he was going to Liberia, but I don't know what's happening again. I'm not going to go there.
That is Sedition's best friend. Yeah.
What you said?
He's a best friend to the Seditions. They let his business.
You said CDC like him?
Yeah, CDC.
Okay, on that note, I say goodbye. I'm not feeling well. Let me go. Bye-bye.
So happy birthday again to you, Councilor Verdia. We wish you all the best as you celebrate your natal day today. A good health, long life as you are as you continue to impact lives and keep pushing for justice to be served for so many people, not just in Liberia but across the world, who do not have the power to get justice.
Let me come in again. The messages are coming. Today is the wedding anniversary, likewise. So it's their wedding anniversary too. Yeah.
A double dose. So happy birthday and happy wedding anniversary to you as well, Councilor Verde. I don't know how many years, but we wish you all the best, long life, and a happy anniversary to you as well. So On that note, that's how I would like to end up tonight on this edition of Spoon Talk. As you know, this is where you get authentic information about the happenings across Liberia. Join us tomorrow for another great edition of Spoon Talk. It's been very informative today with a critical analysis coming from the diverse panel here tonight. You can be sure that tomorrow is going to be even better because there's a whole lot in store for you. Till we come your way again, have a good night. Coming up shortly is the late night show, the late night politics on Spoon. We're going to be here in just a couple of minutes from now to bring you that program. Have a good night. I'm Nelson Colette. And thanks to all of our followers, Jackie Marriage, Nathaniel K. Hill, Ruth Goba, My Ruth, Windows Word, Per Kimber, Siata Tengwe, Isaac Blamer, Etna Yates, George Morris Jr., everyone, thanks for joining us tonight. We'll be here tomorrow. Until then, have a good night and bye-bye for now.